Bum, bum, ba. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Saving Throw. I am your Dungeon Master, your Games Master, and your host for this evening, Tom Lommel. Welcome, everyone, to RPG Exploration Society. This is our chance here at Saving Throw to explore a game that you may not be familiar with. And tonight on deck we have Band of Blades. Band of Blades from Evil Hat. Slight disclaimer, I do social media marketing for Evil Hat, so I may have a conflict of interest here, but I am very excited. I've been very excited about this game for a long time, and I'm super excited to bring it forth to the stream this fine evening. So thank you so much for joining us. We have a cavalcade of stars who have agreed to submit themselves to my will in within certain boundaries and restrictions. And I'm so glad to be joined by such talented role players here tonight. So I will start on my right. It's all over here anyhow. Ben Dunn is here.
Yay! I don't know why you started with me.
Because you're the furthest away. We'll work our way around the table.
Great. Hi, Ben Dunn.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say.
What? Okay, so when I pitched Band of Blades to Dom, and Dom said, "Ben, will you sit in on this game?" Why did you say yes?
I said yes because I love playing with Tom Lommel, and I challenged him before the stream started that he has to kill me in this game. So we'll see if he can do it. But really, it's going to be the dice. The dice rolls are going to kill me.
It's a clear indication that Ben doesn't know much about this game because it's very lethal and it's going to be extremely easy to kill him. It's just finding a way to do it in a satisfying manner. So that's
I feel like that's just life in general.
Very good.
Yeah.
Man, let's hope not. No.
It's fine.
Jen Crutchmer's here.
How's it going?
Welcome. I don't know. What do you want to say about yourself?
I'm excited to play this. I love horror games and I like fantasy games, and this is all of that.
All right.
And military strategy.
Okay.
So it's pretty up my alley. I'm really psyched.
Are you willing to sacrifice your character upon the altar of burning character sheets?
Yeah,
or?
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, hopefully not right away. Like.
Interesting.
Let's get into story, but if the story warrants it,
okay.
Sure.
All right. Very good. Well, welcome aboard. Thank you for joining us this evening. Appreciate it. Sam Dunnewold is here. Sam, how did we meet? Why are you here?
We went to Big Bad Con.
Big Bad Con.
Oh, cool. Played an excellent game of Night Witches there.
We did. Yeah. Yes. That was great. I would love to play that on the stream.
About the actual Night Witches?
Yes,
yeah.
there is.
That's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
for those of you who are not familiar, Night Witches is about the Russian Air Force in World War II that was composed, a wing of the Russian Air Force that was composed entirely of women. Who were some of the worst equipped and also scored some of the most major victories of the war on the Russian front.
Dropping like railroad rods on people and stuff.
Yes, they did not have enough equipment to supply these women with bombs and ammunition, so they would literally just strap railroad ties to their plane and drop them on.
That's
on the Nazis.
Just as deadly.
That's
yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's incredible.
And they were incredible survivalists, and they were assassins, and like,
Yes.
so epic.
I literally just got goosebumps thinking about it. One of the reason that they're called the Night Witches is that they would go out in like a group of 3, and the kind of the squad leader would leave their engine on and would sort of attract all of the attention, and the other 2 pilots would cut their engines, and then they would just glide down out of the sky and make their attack, and the Germans couldn't tell where they were coming from.
So
awesome.
the Germans called them the Night Witches, and they were like,
That's so
heck
cool.
yeah.
Why don't we have a movie about that? Why do we have to have another movie about trench warfare? Like,
I
let's
think
do
there are
that.
some
Maybe,
coming.
yes.
There's also
Yeah.
one about the British assassin, the woman who was the British
Oh yeah,
assassin.
I heard about that one too. Yeah.
Anyway,
so
we
here.
played a great game of that
Yeah.
at Big Bad Con, and I know that Sam has been a fan of story games like this for a long
I'm
time.
running a game of Band of Blades at home right now. It's great.
That was the other qualification. One less person I have to teach the rules to. Don't worry, you're all people I will teach the rules to, including other people here at the table. So we're gonna get learned, but it was a big bonus to have Sam be able to sit in tonight. Hope.
Lavelle.
Hey.
Hey.
I was like, is it an E? Is it an O? I know.
It's a hard one.
It's Hope, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You've never played a game kind of like Powered by the Apocalypse or Forged into the Dark, something like that?
No, I think the closest thing I can think of to these mechanics is maybe like adventure a little bit. Maybe?
I'm trying to think which adventure.
I think it's just called,
called Adventure?
No?
Have you ever played like Lasers and Feelings or something
No,
like that?
but that sounds amazing.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I know we had a little rules primer before we started. Is there anything about this that that we discussed in the rules or discussed in the game that you're like, oh, I want to explore that. I'm ready to like dig my teeth into that.
I don't know if it's spoiler, but I really love that idea of the flashback.
Oh, okay.
I think that that's a really cool game mechanic that,
Yeah.
justifying things that you have via a flashback.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. So that's one of the things is that time. I'm going to say it now so I get out of the way. Time is very fungible in this system. So it is.
That's the drinking game tonight.
Every time I say the word fungible, everybody can take a little shot of the magic juice.
Yeah.
Yes, it is not. This is very much not a game of like let's march through round by round and describe every single like little thing that happens. It is very much a game of sort of cutscenes and montages, and let's move to the heart of the action and not get bogged down in tons of like planning or just kind of like whittling things away. So that's that. Couple pieces of bookkeeping that I need to take care of here. First of all, we have 2 copies of Band of Blades to give away tonight.
Ooh.
We're doing a raffle. I believe you do !raffle, and you can see how to enter. Everyone is eligible to enter if you're a subscriber to the channel, and I recommend that you do subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. You get some extra entries in the raffle, but we're giving away 2 physical books to anybody who lives in the U.S. We'll ship these out to you. We'll probably send them media mail or something like that. And then for people who aren't in the U.S., I will send a PDF copy to somebody who's overseas. So don't worry, we have not neglected you. It's just that international shipping is a real bear. So there you go. So that's going on. We're having a raffle. Also, we have what I like to refer to as the Ladder of Joy, which is a number of things that can be unlocked that our party will either benefit from or perhaps suffer a complication from, depending upon the donations that you all in the chat make tonight. We've already got
those
some
complications. Absolutely.
I love it. I'm here for it.
We've got one thing already unlocked. Dom did his proficiency check stream earlier and raised some cash. So I'll tell you the first thing right off the bat is everybody gets to equip Blackshot for free tonight.
Oh, yes!
So Blackshot is a particularly potent alchemical agent, kind of a gunpowder round that is particularly potent against undead. What is this game? What is this Band of Blades game? What is it all about? What's the deal, Tom?
What's the deal, Tom?
Good question, Tom and Ben. Let me read you the little introduction that I prepared. So, with powerful sorcery and an army of the undead, the Cinder King conquered the West and marched across the nation of Aldermark. I believe we have a graphic for Aldermark. No one could halt his dread advance. Hope rose, however, when alchemists in the East discovered Blackshot, a powerful alchemical agent effective against the undead. Troops using Blackshot drove the Cinder King back across the Tigria River and hoped to defeat the vile Demon King once and for all with a show of overwhelming force at Ettenmark Fields. Unfortunately, the battle was a devastating defeat. Unforeseen undead terrors massacred the troops and drove the scattered survivors back across the Tigria River. Fleeing the chaos, the remaining forces now hope to retreat, regroup, and hold the line at Skydagger Keep. But the Cinder King hurries behind them with his terrible horde, and the chill touch of winter is already in the air. So you are part of this part of this massive army that was gathered to defeat the Cinder King. You are belong to a group called the Legion. You were 1,000 strong going into this final battle, or what you hoped would be the final battle, and your casualties were so severe that there are only 40 of you left. right? It's a overwhelming, horrible defeat, and your only hope at this point is to fight a strategic retreat across the nation of Aldermark and reach Skydagger Keep. Now, that is not the goal of this session. That is the goal of the game as a whole. I will say parenthetically, one of the things that I really, really enjoy about Band of Blades is that it comes with its own set of boundaries, right? You start on one side of the map and you get some choices about where you're going to go and how you're going to get to the other side. But when you get to the other side, that campaign is over. So when you sit down with friends and say, what do you think about playing this game? And they go, well, what's it really about? And you go, it's about 12 sessions long. And they go, okay, I can commit to that. So that's that's your overall goal. That's the overall premise of Band of Blades. It has a very, I think we'll see tonight, kind of like gritty, dark military fantasy kind of angle to it. If you have, those of you at home who have read the Black Company books, that is one of the major influences of the game itself. So that's a little bit about the premise of the game and where we're at. You're all troops within the Legion, and you are just some of the survivors who are trying to scrabble your way across the continent. In terms of the game world itself, this is a fantasy world, but it does not have dragons, elves, dwarves. There are no prophecies that inform how the great evil will be defeated. There are no chosen heroes who are going to strike the decisive blow. There are certainly chosen beings who have been picked by the gods to help fulfill this task, but nothing is foreordained, and there's no wizard who can craft somebody's spell and make all of this go away. So there are some supernatural influences at play. Obviously, it's a game where you're fighting undead, and the Cinder King is a demon king who has sorcerous supernatural power at his command, right? So it's not a world without magic, but magic is very rare, very difficult to control, comes at a cost, that sort of thing. Not very well understood. The countervailing balance to that is that there is some technology in this world, right? So it's sort of a late Renaissance, European Renaissance level of technology. Black powder is available to everyone. Firearms are common. They aren't necessarily, they're still somewhat rare, but in terms of like the work that it takes to make them. But it would not, you of all being seasoned troops of the Legion have at least seen a weapon, knows how it works, could probably fire it. You may not be trained in it, but you understand the basics of how firearms work. Combustion engines don't really exist. There's not mass production of things. There aren't trains and locomotives. Animals still perform the bulk of society's labor. Alchemy is a thing. What does it mean? We're not clear. And the people who understand alchemy try and keep those secrets to themselves, right? But there's no factories or mass production or anything like that of like chemicals, etc., other than black powder for the war effort. Generally, this is a world where the main tools for any problem are your own sweat, your own blood, and if it comes down to it, just putting your life on the line. I should have gotten it out. I don't know. Do we have? Dom, what did you do with all of my index cards?
I have some there.
Here they are. Okay. It's fine. All right. So as I mentioned, this is a game of dark military fantasy. It involves horror themes. It can go places that you might not anticipate, that I might not anticipate, and that we might not all be comfortable with. And I think we had an opportunity to discuss that earlier. I think everybody's kind of on board with the general tone of what we're going to explore here tonight. But if we do cross over into territory where you're like, this is starting to get a little weird, it's starting to get personal for me in a way that I'm not comfortable with, you don't have to share why, you don't have to share what the situation is. We're going to use a tool called script change. If you Google this, you can check it out, but I'm going to explain it very easily. So this is essentially sort of like a VCR shuttle control, right? So we have pause. Hey, can we stop, talk about this, and maybe redirect the action or something like that so that this goes, has more we all have a more comfortable experience together, we can just do a fast forward. You know what? Okay, we get it. You're trying to seduce the bar wench for whatever reason. I don't care. I just don't need to hear the blow-by-blow details of this. Let's just fast forward over this. Call it good. Likewise, there's rewind. You know what? We crossed over a line that we need to retcon a little bit. Like, can we take a different path on this? That's rewind. So I'll put this out here. If you do have something comes up, because I don't know everybody. I just met you today. And Ben.
We know
Ben
that
has
card
secrets.
is for me. Specifically.
Ben's going to say something
I
terrible.
have a giant X card in front of me. I understand.
Yeah.
Feel free to use it.
You're also just welcome to just X out, hey, let's not do this. So those are the safety tools that we're going to use. Happy to do that. I did mention The Chosen. So, before we get into that, why don't we go around and introduce each of our characters? Let's start there. I'm going to start on this side, only to be fair.
Thank you.
Right.
You don't have to, Hope.
Oh,
but
no,
if you want to talk, just
gotta get in
whatever
there.
you know. I literally just dumped these characters on them an hour ago. So
True.
it's going to be a journey for us all.
So, I am Baronet Ferian Zardani.
Oh,
I
want to write this down. Hang on.
Right?
Baronet? That's great.
Right?
Yeah.
Baronet Ferian Zardani.
Yes, that's correct. You can call me Ferian, though. Don't have to have the whole title. It's fine.
Can't call you the Baronet.
You can.
All right, great.
I don't know what else I should say about her.
Well, what is your specialist role on the team?
Right.
What are you?
I am the sniper. So you better watch out.
Okay, very good. We have an opportunity to do a little bit of world building, character building. What did your character do in the battle where everyone else largely got wiped out to survive?
Not too proud of it. I wouldn't call it hiding. I wasn't hiding. I was positioned strategically.
You're a
upon
sniper.
Yeah, right. See, it's in the
Distanced.
title. I was distanced, and I was.
You were roosting.
I was doing my job, is what I was doing, and that's why I survived.
All right, very good, very good. Sam.
So I am officer. That's my role, officer. Koleevich. And I am a Zemyati from Zemyat. Zemyati? I can't remember the name of the place, but I am of Zemyati heritage.
I want to say that it's something like the Zemyati.
They're like a mountain range or something. Anyway, huh?
Can you repeat?
But yeah, Koleevich. Koleevich. I'm an officer, which I believe means that I imagine that Koleevich was a fairly low-ranking officer, going into things. He's a pretty young guy. The Zemyati in general are tough, bold, loyal, and stubborn, and I think Koleevich is even more so those things because he's barely of age. And sort of just made officer. He's very ambitious.
Was Koleevich promoted after the battle, in order to fill in a rank, or
So
was Koleevich promoted before the battle as?
My understanding is that now after the battle, largely. The thing I was saying doesn't matter. I think he was promoted before the battle, which gives him an air of officialness, but only to the lowest ranking of officer. But now almost all the other officers are dead.
Yeah.
So this has really been a great career opportunity for him.
Wow. Okay.
And that's not the only thing that he's thinking about, but it is something that has occurred to him.
Okay.
We
Interesting.
go into the next,
And do you want to describe a little bit about Zemyati culture since you're more familiar than other people at the table? No? Did I put you on the spot?
No, I specifically chose to be Zemyati because I'm very familiar with all of the cultures except for Zemyati. In my home game, no one has really gone Zemyati. But
I see.
it says here, I know that they are, as I said, tough, bold, loyal, stubborn. I know they're from the mountains a bit, and my favorite detail is all of them keep a small ritual dagger on them for swearing of blood oaths.
Ooh.
Yes, yes. So oaths and promises are like hugely important
big
to
deal.
them.
Yeah, I mean, like, Kolevich, for as much as he may be an ambitious young boy, he is very loyal, right? And he is, when it comes down to it, like, he does have the group.
Gotcha. Okay. The other thing that I will mention, just because I know this off the top of my head and I don't know why. So in Zemyati culture, they all, every settlement has a tree, right?
Yeah, it's quasi-druidic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's like
and
the
so
family tree.
it's a clan tree, and so when they start a new settlement, they like slice off a branch and then they plant that. That's.
And I believe they water the trees with the blood of their relatives when they die. Yeah.
Good fertilizer.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
My family tree is way back at home, but I do keep a piece of it that I wear as jewelry.
Nice.
Ooh.
We also
Boy, that sounds blasphemous to me, but I'm not here to judge your culture. So.
You are alright, right?
Yes.
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 So everyone there has a title and their own little. It's like
Yeah.
it's a.
So Orite culture is very much like, yes, everybody like it's weird because they all have like titles and heritages and nobility and stuff like that, but it's not in a way that like, okay, I outrank you so I can order you around. It's just more of like a social status thing. And also because there were so many different types of noble systems that were all sort of intertwined in that area, it's like some people are dukes and duchesses and some people are baronets and some people like everybody has kind of a title.
But you have a domain and it can be really small, right?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Just have like your little farmhouse is technically your
My domain.
duchy, your duchy. Duchy.
It's
Is that how it's pronounced?
I think it's duchy.
I've only seen it written. Nobody.
I've only ever encountered it while playing Dominion,
Yeah.
and I've always said duchy. So.
I think it's duchy.
Yes.
I like duchess.
Very good. All right, Jen, what do you want to tell us about your character? You are
My character is named Ria Khatri.
Jaria.
Ria, R-I-Y-A, Khatri, K-H-A-T-R-I. She is our scout. She is a Barton from Bartos. They tend to be very tall people. She has very long black hair, which she wears coiled in a braid on her head, and she has red eyes. They wear very brightly colored clothing, and she has tattoos, and her tattoos look like grain in the wind. The Bartons are farmers and tend to supply all of the food for the entire region. Everything that's still around, the Bartons are doing the farm work. And also her family in particular are clothiers, they're weavers.
Oh, okay.
There's a token system. So there are people who you trust or with whom you're negotiating. You'll exchange a token before you begin that conversation, which is kind of cool. But she is our scout. And during the battle, again, she doesn't love to admit this, but she's a bit cowardly. She turns tail and runs. She doesn't have a ton of metal. Actually, let me look. That was she has more metal than I thought she did.
Well, I mean, keep in mind this was an extraordinary circumstance, right? So you can either you can interpret that however you want. You can interpret it as either she finally sort of revealed herself, like realized that she doesn't actually have the guts for this, or maybe it was just a moment of like, I can't
absolute terror,
just for once overcome with it, and now she's living with regret or remorse or whatever. I don't know.
I think she discovered that about herself, that she runs, so I think there's a question of whether that would happen again or if she would be able to fight that off in the future. We shall find out. We shall see.
I hope we find out.
Marshal the cowards.
Wow! This is getting juicy.
I mean, that's how you survive.
Yeah. I mean, the casualty rate, 40 out of
survival without glory.
Yes.
40 out of 1,000. You're looking at.
So you already survived. You have great odds.
just
Lightning's not gonna strike twice. Ben, let's hear about your character.
So I am playing Red Vexing Wind.
Wow.
He is a Panyar,
Panyar, I believe.
Panyar. Forest person.
Mm-hmm.
The description leads it to be very questionable.
Questionable?
He's a forest. They favor clothes that allow freedom of movement. Each Panyar has an animal feature gained by living a dozen years in the forest of Panyar.
What's
is
yours?
his feature?
Eyes. So I imagine I've charcoaled out my eyes to make it look more wolf-like.
So to be
animal-like?
clear,
Please,
the
clarify.
the Panyar Forest, the way that the gods work in this setting is that there are gods sort of like of different regions, and they kind of like each conduct themselves according to their own whims and desires and agendas, right? And the god of the Panyar is very much sort of like or at least one of the gods in the Panyar Forest is very bestial, right? And so anyone who comes to live in the Panyar Forest spends more than like a year there, starts to develop feral features, right?
Yeah.
So they might grow fangs. So it's not a matter of like you blacked out your eyes.
Oh,
So
I
it
just
won't-
have wolf
like
eyes.
you have wolf-like eyes.
I have wolf.
Yeah.
Okay, Witcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit. But they also color their hair. So I figure his name is Red because of the red hair that he has. I'm going to take this hood down because it's super hot. I thought it would look cool. But one of the interesting things is that he is marked, which means that he has a plus 2d to resist corruption. So what that leads me to believe is that our dear friend Red was in the midst of the battle where these two were hiding or running away, just decimating the forces
Nice.
in the front line.
What is his function?
He is the heavy, so it makes sense. He's
Yeah.
the bullet shield.
Okay, so a heavy is like the frontline fighter, kind of a infantry tank kind of
Yeah.
character. Your tank.
Sponge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponge.
But
Why does anyone use the word tank? It should just be sponge. That's-
Yeah.
just absorbs. It just
Yeah.
absorbs.
Just the hit me as much as you
I
can.
actually like that for new players to call your tanks sponges.
The sponge.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never moved away from that.
Yeah.
I've been playing for years, but I will always play a bullet sponge.
Yeah. In this system, it's difficult to make a character that's resistant to a lot of damage, but it is not difficult to make a character who can do a lot of damage, like in one fell swoop. That's
tank
kind of the
makes
way the
more,
balance works, right? Is this is a game that definitely wants you to choose between unpleasant consequences and try and like make things more interesting rather than just kind of let's whittle hit points away and that sort of thing. The other thing that I will mention, now that we've introduced all the characters, is that this is not a game that has a high level of character fidelity. In other words, you might not play, or you probably will not play the same character every single session. And in fact, it's designed so that within one session, you should play at least two characters for sure.
So if for a full campaign, you mentioned that there is always an allotment of 40.
Yeah.
Do people like make 10 each that they can just flip through if they want to?
So the way that this works is we have made specialist characters. You're the highly trained elite troops, right? There will be one more specialist character because you always start with 5, and then the other 35 people in the company are all grunts. They're all what we call rookies. Yes.
I like to call them red shirts.
There's that too. And so they have a much lower level of training. They do not have the special abilities that you do, although they have some basic like fighting ability. And so in a typical game, like once you get into the campaign, the two of you might be playing your specialist characters, and then they're playing just whatever grunts that they want.
Although unlike red shirts, like once a like player has taken over one of them, you name them, you flesh out their personality, you do as much as you can to make it hurt when they die.
Would argue that they're people too. They have names, we just never find them
Right.
out.
I'm just saying
Find them
here
out
the
just before
whole
they
Right,
goal
before they die, yeah.
whole
I swear
goal
I
is to
have a
make it hurt when
family.
they die.
Right. And grunts, if they do survive to the end of the mission, they get XP and they can level up and they can become veteran soldiers. And if they level up enough, then they can actually become one of the specialist characters. So you can actually get more specialists in your group. You just start off with 5 specialists and then a bunch of rookies who don't have great odds. So, all right. There's one other major member of the surviving regiment of the Legion, and that is your Chosen. When humanity is in peril and supernatural horrors plague the world, the gods offer certain mortals the opportunity to rise to the task and become imbued with divine power. They become a chosen of the gods. You travel with one such being. As the Legion was about to be shattered in this latest offensive, the chosen Zora appeared in your midst to save you. She is a peerless warrior. She has a halo of fire and a blade made of solid flame.
So cool.
She lives for glory in battle and seeks to ultimately slay the Cinder King himself. She demands nothing but the best from those who serve with her. So we'll explore more about like who Zora is and how she interacts with with the Legion. I will point out for those of you at home, because I've already mentioned this to the group, is that Zora is not officially a member of the Legion. She is not in the chain of command. She is here voluntarily. We'll probably play to find out kind of like why and why she attached herself to the Legion, etc. But she cannot be given orders, and she does not give orders, although you don't want to upset her and give her a reason to leave the Legion, obviously, right?
She has a blade of solid flame.
Solid flame! She has a halo of fire!
She may not give orders, but she has expectations.
She has expectations, and you will hear if you do not live up to those expectations.
It seems difficult to have her when you're trying to sleep. She just constantly has a fire halo around her head. Turn it down.
That's possible. That's possible.
Keeps her warm at night.
Winter
is coming.
When I have run this before, I have always described her as kind of like that hard-ass drill sergeant who's like waking you up. It was the crack of dawn before. It's half an hour before. Guess what? We're getting up, before it's dawn so that we can be, we're getting up at 5 a.m. so we can be done by dawn. So when dawn's here, we can start moving. I was kind of consider her to be like just.
She gets to the office. She's already been to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Zora. Because you travel with Zora, you each have been imbued with sacred seals, which means you have special armor against magical effects. So if something magical tries to harm you or influence you in some way, you can reduce the effect of that by saying, I'm going to invoke my sacred seals that Zora has given to me. It's a one-time protection. It's not an ongoing thing. It's just ongoing until you use it. All right. So I'm not going to do a big rules overview of here's how the system works, here's how the game breaks down, etc. Forged in the Dark games, particularly. So Blades in the Dark is the original Forged in the Dark game. It is a game of street gangs in post-apocalyptic, supernatural, steampunk London-esque kind of town, trying to carve out territory and make their own fortunes without getting nicked by the cops. It's a game of heists. That's the original one. This is run by that same engine, and it is very much a game about getting into the action and getting to it. So after a good 30 minutes of talking, let's get into the action and get right to it. Da, da, da. All right. Here's your mission briefing. In the chaos of your escape from Ettenmark Fields, the Legion's commander was captured and taken to an Aldermoney keep on the border of Dar. Zora claims that a special interrogator was sent to the keep to turn the commander and keep his mind intact, but turn him to the side of the Cinder King. The Legion's remaining leaders have decided on one last-ditch rescue attempt. Castles are designed to keep people out, but an old sewer drain holds a secret way in. Can you rescue the commander before he is turned and all Legion secrets are extracted from him? Or can you take him out before it's too late? Can you make it out alive? We will play to find out. So that is your mission. You are going to go to this keep, maybe this chateau is another way to describe it. that's somewhat behind enemy lines. Your job is to either rescue your commander before their mind is turned, or make sure that they can't turn any secrets over to the Cinder King's
I mean,
forces.
the way that I interpreted it, we just have to kill him.
Oh,
All right.
we are
Probably.
definitely getting that guy out.
Like out
Who
of
is the
this
commander?
life.
Before I start using male pronouns.
Well, so we don't have to necessarily agree on that. You can tell me. So this is not fixed in the fiction. We can decide who is your commander. What are they like? Let's start with: are they male, female, non-binary? How do they identify to you?
Let's go with the non-binary commander.
Okay,
Great.
All right, very good. And what sort of background do you think they have? They can be Orite, Panyar, Zemyati, Barton if you want. It can also be something else.
I think Zemyati would be cool.
Sure.
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
then we're definitely getting him out.
Okay. And so if there's Zemyati, what is their name?
Good question. Let's see. Let's go with Danyovna.
Danyovna.
Yeah.
And is that the full? Is it Commander Danyov?
Yeah. So
Danyovna?
I'm not positive how patronomics and matronomics work.
So that's a
But-
feminine.
Yeah.
So
Suffix.
it's similar to Russian where
Right.
it
I
can
just
be.
forget how it works in Russian.
Oh right.
Yeah, it
okay.
just goes on to the end. Ova is a daughter of,
Cool.
and Ovich is son of.
Got
so,
it. Yeah, there's 3 patronomics and 3 matronomics here.
Yeah. So you pick one or the other.
Yeah. So I did Ovna.
So you usually,
Okay.
yeah, you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Commander
Danyova.
Dan.
Yeah, Danyovna.
Danyovna. DANIA plus
Oh.
OVNA. I think you drop the A from the end of Danya and replace it with the O, so it'd be
Yeah,
Danyovna.
Oh, okay. Got it. Very good. All right.
And then
What-
Commander Danyovna.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
They also, I know, I don't think this is on the sheet that I've got here, but I know they typically are, the Zemyati often have like a nickname or like a moniker that
Oh, I
they have
think I
got.
have-
So
I
like
have
One
this.
Eye or like,
Would we talk to our commander with the nickname?
I mean,
good
that's
question.
sort of up to our
They
commander.
Might, they
You
might
might.
be Captain such and such, yeah.
These things are
There's
very
not-
like
Well,
much more cultural.
I
than
guess
just
one
nicknames, so-
question is, it could be Commander Danyovna, like in an official business, but is there a nickname?
Yeah,
On the field.
Everyone
on the
calls
field or
it.
between
Yeah.
the troops that we don't let this slide to the
I don't
commanders?
have it, but if you want to
I
read
like
more
that
about
idea.
yeah, I like
the
that too.
cultures.
Let's start with a couple other questions about the commander.
Yeah.
What's their reputation? Are they fierce, devious, unstoppable, proud, inspiring?
I feel like they're proud.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Proud is a good one.
I like
Uh-huh.
unstoppable too. Like,
Ooh,
like
yeah.
at least I think in Kalevich's mind, like this person is their role model.
Oh, yeah.
And like part of the reason Kalevich is so excited to like move up the ranks is to get like closer to them. Like as one of the like top officers left, I'll probably get some like FaceTime with them if they come back.
How does this air of pride that the commander carries with them, how does that, is there a way that manifests in terms
I
of
think when it's bad, it's recklessness, and also insisting on proper protocol.
so
But his pride gives him an aura
I-
that people follow.
I guess like how is that manifest like concretely? In other words, if you were to look at this person, what about them, or what do they either do, or what do they have on them or about them that would indicate this is a very proud person?
Oh, so I got some good Zemyati looks options here. So both men and women wear braided jewelry and accent their dress with forged pieces akin to armor. So I think they have like really like intricately braided jewelry and probably hair too, and they're and all of their like dresses just like very well taken care of. Like the pride, I imagine, like really comes out in the way they present
He
themselves.
could have a really big braid that just
Oh,
goes
yeah,
down
that's
the
cool.
back of them.
Okay, they have one big braid
Gross, I
or
hate
one prominent braid. Okay.
I think they also are, in terms of how you interact with them, insist on protocol. That
Okay.
it's very much about the chain of command and observing, titles and proper decorum.
And so one of the pieces that we do
We
know,
have to save this person?
one of the
How they
things
get things done.
one of the things that we do know from the setup of the game is that Commander Danyovna was captured holding the back line of during the retreat, right? So they were leading kind of like the last wave of troops, and they got overwhelmed, but that allowed the rest of you to escape. So keep that in mind.
Look at the
Okay,
cultural
they're all
issue.
right by me.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
You want to take it?
All right, so that's the commander. They are proud, unstoppable, proud to the point of recklessness, unstoppable, and also very insistent on protocol. Very good. So at this point, you know what your mission is. Now is the time where you decide how you want to equip yourselves, right? So in your character sheets, you have a light loadout, which is sort of like the basics that you can carry. That enables you to move a little bit quicker, a little bit quieter. You have a normal loadout, which is with the gear that you would normally carry into the field, and then you have a heavy loadout, which is a little bit slower, probably a little bit louder. But if you're facing down a big fight, that's what you kit yourself out with. So on a mission by mission basis, you get to decide how you want to equip yourselves.
Not heavy, given
Yeah,
that we're on like a secret rescue mission.
I think normal because we may have to climb out of the sewers.
Totally.
So that climbing kit may be essential.
I agree.
Not everyone has the same stuff, so I don't get a climbing kit
Oh,
at
okay.
normal, but you do.
Yeah, so normal for me because I have the traveler trait. Even at normal, I run at a light loadout. So
Okay.
You are also going to TravelerCon?
It's
a party.
So just to make sure that you know exactly how this breaks down is you get to pick, like, I'll show everyone at home. There are 3 different loadouts here. If you pick the middle one, you get all the stuff to the left of that, right? And then you also get to mark 2 boxes in your utility loadout. So you get to kind of customize what you want to be. But you all get Black Shot for free. But if there is something that you want that costs 2 boxes, that's both of your utility load, right?
What is in the soldier's kit?
Oh, you have a.
If you look inside the other handout I gave you, it breaks down what's in there. So that's kind of how the load scales up. All right. DJ Regular, thank you so much for tuning in and making a donation.
hey,
Good
what's going on,
to
DJ
see
Regular?
you. All right. So, does everyone have... the other thing that I should mention is not only are you given whatever equipment you have chosen, but you are assigned a squad of rookies to accompany you, right? So you have 6 rookies who are also going to be going on this mission. You are responsible for their conduct and hopefully for their safe return. So it's not just the 4 of you that are going to be going on this mission. It is also a squad of rookies. If you want to come up with a list of 6 names for me,
Absolutely.
that would be great. That's that. All right. Does anyone have any questions about something on their character sheet or a piece of equipment that they have available? If not, then we'll get right into the madness.
So this is like a quick in and out. Should we worry about having supplies? I don't.
So supplies, to be clear, supplies are basically like food provisions,
Right.
like a day's worth of food provisions or so.
But that's what I'm saying. It's
You
like,
don't
if
think the
this
mission is that far away that you'll need that? Like
Right.
if you're gone for a day, things have gone horribly wrong.
Right.
Like they're either going to write you off or they're going to send somebody to try and rescue whoever's left at the end of that day. But they're expecting you, like they're going to send you off in the morning and they're expecting you to come back within 12 hours.
Okay. And then for, just to read off, so for the normal loadout for my heavy, I automatically get a fitted heavy plate.
Yeah.
And then I could choose between a fine shield or a fine heavy weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm choosing like the fine heavy weapon, I don't have to choose that as a utility because I already have it.
Correct.
So then I could choose shield. Since I'm not choosing the fine shield, I can choose a shield as my loadout.
Yeah.
utility.
I think there is a slight difference between a fine heavy shield and a
Right.
regular heavy regular shield or whatever.
Yeah.
But yes.
Because that
Yeah.
provides 1 if it was fine. If it was a heavy shield, I don't see a difference here.
Fine has
It's just higher quality.
Right. That's all it says is fully metal. Sweet decal.
Yeah, I mean, this game
has
does not
braids.
try to like get super bogged down on this thing has this one specific meaning, right?
Gotcha.
If it's sort of like tags in Dungeon World, like if you can apply it to
Yeah.
to the situation, to the fiction at hand, great, good, then it fits.
And like a wrecking kit would be good for, I don't know, knocking down walls if we need to breach a
Yeah,
wall.
right, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I want that. I have
very
that.
good. All right.
Have it.
Okay, are we ready to begin?
Yes.
Great. It's our second. We're starting again. 10 minutes later.
Really doing it this time.
We're really doing it this time. Let me all right, let's just get into it. Rain and thunder is punctuated by the howls of undead prowling the muddy roads of the village above as you stand in a deep ditch outside the keep. Rainwater and chunks of waste flow steadily from a large drainage pipe. Zora leans in, her broad shoulders outlined in the flashes of lightning. I will lead an assault on the main gates as a distraction. This is a stealth and speed mission. Get in the keep, get the commander, and get out. Whatever you do, don't let the undead learn the Legion's secrets. Do not fail me. With a brisk nod and a clenched jaw, she turns and marches her squad up the steep sides of the dirty trench. So, you are... I think I made multiple copies of this, but maybe I did not. They might be in the thing. So, you are standing in this trench right here. It's raining heavily. You are in this very small village that has obviously been affected by the war previously. But whatever villagers were here that survived kind of the most recent influx of troops, they are now gone. You don't see anybody. You have seen kind of patrols of like rotting zombies and ghouls wandering the streets, and it's clear that the red banners of the Cinder King fly outside this large kind of keep / it's more of a chateau, right? So this isn't particularly a village that's like your traditional medieval keep that's set up to bring everybody inside and defend. Like maybe at one time it was that, but now this is sort of like the centerpiece of the village and the surrounding holdings, and it's since fallen into taken damage from the war efforts and whatnot, and has clearly been occupied by some of the Cinder King's forces. So you've been told that the sewers are the way in. That's some sort of secret passage inside, and Zora has accompanied you on this mission, and your understanding is she's going to go storm the front gate, provide a distraction, and buy you time.
Is she just doing that by herself?
She's also got a squad of rookies with her, right? So you kind of are doubled up on this mission. Yeah, it's not just her, although
No, like
the way I like to describe Chosen is you are the frontline soldiers in the war, and she's literally a one-person like battle tank. And while that brings a lot of firepower to the field, it also like draws a lot of fire. One of the things that the Cinder King has done is he has taken other Chosen who have gone up against him in battle, and he has not only defeated them, he has turned them. So he has transformed them into his broken, is what he calls it. And they are his supernatural kind of puppets, kind of like he ghoulishly feeds off of the divine energy that they have in their bodies, and has corrupted them to serve as his like generals in his army. So you don't want Zora to get captured. You don't think Zora's going to get captured because she doesn't seem to fight that way, but that would be incredibly
There are
bad.
4 chosen left, right? Five have been turned of the 9?
Yes. There are 4 left. You've probably heard of Zora and 2 others, and there's one that you don't even know where this person is at this point. But yeah, that's the situation. All right, so you march yourselves into this.
So we know where the sewer is, right?
You're standing right in front of this. It's a 7-foot tall grate, and like I said, the day has the weather has turned absolutely sour. It's miserable outside. It's barely recognizable as daylight, right? Because the storm clouds are so thick, and it's just thunderstorm raining heavy, 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 and that's also evidenced by just this cascade of water that's flowing out of the sewer system. And then there's also just miscellaneous detritus and bits of scraps of clothing and bits of wood and God knows what that's all clearly like washing down through whatever sewer system and rain gutters they have inside of the keep. It's getting funneled through here.
Can I use one of my lenses to try and look into the tunnels and see what's ahead there?
What kind of lens are you using?
So I have an expensive Barton telescoping lens for viewing things at a distance.
I think it's too dark probably to like look into this tunnel and see anything with that type of device.
Okay.
I just want to hop in there and start like holding the door and like ushering in the rookies at the very least. Like,
Yes, it just opened. Is the grate open? Can we just walk in?
You know, that's a great question. I'm gonna determine that by making a fortune roll because I don't really have a strong feeling about it. I got a 6 on that, so yeah, it is just open.
Okay.
There probably are the remnants of some bars that are hanging down, you know, where it was at one time secured.
That's not ominous.
I guess you don't really need to guard the crap hole.
What sort of my only real concern here is like what sort of approach are you going to take? Who's going to kind of be up front and who's going to be in the back, and where are you going to position the rookies?
I'm planning to position myself firmly at the back so that I can like make sure other people aren't running away. I'm a little bit concerned about that on this mission. So I want to be back there to like give people like encouragement.
Sure.
I assume you're at the front, but
Encouragement.
Yes, it would either be me and I'd have a scout with me.
Mm-hmm.
How are the methane levels in this small sewer tunnel?
Well, there's a lot of
Can we
like
light
water
up?
rushing through and whatnot.
Okay.
Since you asked about it, there is sort of an odd smell inside the tunnel, but it's not methane. It's not like the smell of waste and whatnot that you've come to expect from a sewer pipe. It has almost a little bit of that kind of like an orange, like a bitter orange kind of smell. Like it's strong. It's citrus-like, but it's definitely not citrus. Okay?
Not synesthesia. I'm not smelling orange. I'm smelling a orange.
Correct.
Got it.
Yes. But a very like a like so kind of like concentrated. It's almost bitter on your to.
Is it something that we've recognized?
Not right. No, not at this point.
Cool.
Is it cool?
Probably not.
Probably not.
wow, look at this.
Probably deadly. Oh,
Holy
that's
crap.
so cool.
All right, so we're gonna start things off here by making a clock. One of my favorite inventions in Blades in the Dark, but also here in Band of Blades. So this is a clock that represents Zora's ability to stave off the forces of the undead that she's facing. Boy, I really did something wrong there. All right, so
There's a little texture.
Zora, I'm going to call this clock, Zora is forced to retreat. So, whenever I think it's appropriate, we're going to roll to see how the battle is going when Zora storms the front gate.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey.
So, who's in front? You're in the back. We determined that. You're in the
Two
front.
of us are in the front.
Two of you are in the front. Are the rookies in between the
yeah,
two?
we put the rookies in between.
2 and 2? Is that the way it's working?
Yeah, I gotta be in the back. I'm the sniper.
All right.
Did we do a briefing with the rookies?
Oh, they're aware. Like they've been in part of all of this. Yeah, they're aware of what's going on.
My understanding is that because I'm the officer, I'm in charge of the mission, but also, like, I didn't really become in charge of the mission until all other authority figures left. Is that about right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, well, Zora's not an authority figure. Like, technically, you're in charge of the mission.
Great. Yeah.
And certainly now that she's someplace else, you're definitely in charge of this part of the mission.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Whether everybody listens to you or not,
Yep.
we will find out.
That's what I have dots in discipline for.
All right, very good. So you push forward into the sewers. I'm going to assume that you have some sort of rudimentary light source that allows you to navigate the place.
Yeah, I brought some oil.
Do I also, since I have wolf eyes, I have a little bit of dark vision?
I don't know how to answer that question. I'm going to let the dice determine.
Answer.
You know what? No, here's what you have. You have a little bit of a heightened sense of smell. That's why you're picking up on this.
Cool.
On this thing, and
Let's walk through a sewer.
You asked about the smell. Now it's a thing.
Yep.
All right, very good. So
Smell orange.
So helpful, thank you.
You're welcome.
you push forward, and you get deep into the sewer system here, and you come upon. You finally sort of like track down the source of this particular odor, because it starts getting stronger to the point where you all can pick it up, and the rookies are kind of like coughing a little bit. You know, they're just giving like an uncomfortable kind of clearing their throat more than necessary and whatnot. Maybe you are too. I don't know. I just like to
Quiet down.
have the rookies be annoying. But you come to the source of this thing, and you can see that there is a purplish fluid that is slick, almost like a oil slick, right? But it's purple, and it's running in ribbons through the sewer system here, right? It isn't always just like rushing water. You've come to a place where the sewer is deep enough, like it's probably like knee deep or so, that it runs a little bit slower and flatter, right? And so you can see these ribbons of this, what you assume are some sort of alchemical fluid, drizzling its way down the sewage passageway, and up ahead you can see that it's guttering down from some sort of vertical shaft or pipe that is emptying into this portion of the sewers from someplace up above. And it's creating kind of this cascading sheet of purplish fluid that goes all the way across.
Are we in this? Is this touching us?
You can, at the point that you're at right now, you can, like, if you choose to avoid it, you can kind of like step around the individual, like it's long, skinny ribbons of this stuff. And it is kind of like thin and oily, but it also kind of like has almost like a congealed quality to it, right? Like almost like long strings of like fat that is kind of connected together, right?
Gross.
As an Orite, you study alchemy, right? As part of your upbringing?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that's in the description, that's part of, you do like gadgets and alchemy.
Yeah, they're the most technological culture of the four that are in play.
Do you have any familiarity with this?
Probably.
So, there's not like a ton of like I know stuff kind of skills, right? So I would say you can make a fortune roll to just sort of straight up like, I know something about this, but the fortune roll will be based on research. And I don't know if you have any dots in research.
I do not.
Okay. So that's probably not going to go very well for you.
No.
The other thing that you have an opportunity to do is you could do a flashback and explain to me why you might have researched something related to this particular situation.
You know what? I love that mechanic, so I suppose I gotta try it.
All right. Well, tell me what you do to prep yourself, and I'll kind of give you an idea of how effective this role has the potential to be, and also what cost will be associated with it. So in your run up to getting ready for the mission, after you got the mission briefing and you understood what was going on, what was going to happen, what would you have? What would have occurred to you, or what steps would you have taken, or who would you have talked to somehow become more informed or illuminated about this particular situation in front of us? That would have prepared you for this moment.
I would have talked to. Well, I would have talked to you. For sure. And I think that I'm blunt enough to have tried to talk to Zora.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So, and you would have talked to Zora, and what would you have asked Zora? I mean, obviously, her time is valuable to her. She's not completely unapproachable. But you tell me, like, okay, what's this like? Actually, let's flashback to you.
Oh no.
You walk into Zora's tent, and she is in the midst of what looks like some sort of like contemplation.
Oh no.
She's got her eyes closed, and her halo of fire you can see is just sort of like it's very weird because it seems to be almost like guttering out, right? So she's got like that when she's in battle. It blazes with this like incredibly potent light, but right now she's sitting there and it's just barely sputtering, and you can feel kind of this warmth coming off of her.
You interrupted nap time.
And remind me again. I'm looking for. We were talking about
the alchemical agents that are flowing through the sewer.
And this is something that we don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
Research the chateau.
Yeah.
What was the chateau? What was happening in there before?
Thanks. Yeah, my lady, don't mean to disturb you, but, we're about to go into this big old thing here, and, I request humbly.
I appreciate direct speech.
Right. Okay. What we getting ourselves into here? They have something on their side that we need to know about.
They have our commander.
Right. But they have different defenses. I feel like you've learned something from the battle on the front lines. I wasn't there, so you probably...
You weren't at the battle?
I was in the battle on the side, back lines.
You were in the back lines of the battle?
I'm a sniper. I don't know if you know me well enough to know this.
That provides some meager excuse.
Right, it's great. So, humbly, I ask, if we were to come across something...
Are you a soldier of courage and bravery, or are you a soldier of cowardice?
I am a soldier of staying alive.
Take my hand, and you see like that halo of fire suddenly like begin to like flare up again, and you can see her hand. It turns absolutely white.
Oh no! Right. I'm also not that bright, so I'll do it. She is.
Okay. All right. Very good. I feel like that's the moment of drama that really needed to be excised from that particular flashback. So I'm going to say you can either get very specific information out of this, but it'll cost you 2 stress. Oof. Or you can get insightful information out of this, and it'll cost you 1 stress.
You know what? I feel like insightful is really all we need.
Okay.
It's a one shot. You gotta burn that stress.
It's early.
Sorry.
All right.
It's early. It's still
Sam's just buffaloing everybody else and spending this stress.
Knowing me, I am gonna burn through them. So.
Okay, so you're going to use. It'll cost you 2 points of stress.
Okay.
For sure, and then.
At one point, I didn't want to necessarily bullet you into that if you don't want.
Let me see your character sheet.
This is to get knowledge about slime.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. That's why I wasn't gonna stress too much about it.
Yeah.
All right. You don't normally have research in your. You don't have any points in research, right? But as a result of this flashback, I'm going to let you use your point of
I don't have
Interesting.
Sorry.
No,
I
you know
just
what?
thought it was an Orient thing, so.
That's fine. You know what? I'm going to let you use both points of rig. You can roll 2 dice,
Right.
and what you're looking for in this particular case is you're looking for a 6 would be an excellent result. A 4 or 5 will give you some useful information, and a 1 through 3 means the information is questionable in its reliability.
All right, big money, big money. All right.
6.
6.
Nice.
All right. So when you grip her hand, right? You both lock eyes, and all of a sudden you're looking through her eyes, right? And then you realize you're not looking through her eyes. You're looking through the halo of fire, and you turn the halo of fire around, almost like the eye of Sauron, right? And it goes whistling across the landscape, and you see kind of like these mottled green undead figures crawling around the landscape. So every single undead creature within 5 miles you see kind of outlined with this purplish flaming glow. And when you get to the castle, you can see that there are many different undead figures stalking the village and whatnot, right? But they also have a herd of livestock penned up inside in the middle of this keep. Okay? And the livestock are sort of half encased in this glow. And you can see that there's a number of tanks and alchemical devices that are installed in this tall tower. And the purplish glow is starts as sort of this pure distilled thing that then gets pumped into these creatures, and they start taking on the purplish glow.
Is there some undead cow poop coming down this sewer? Is that what you're telling us right now?
Well, so in this moment, you witness one of these cattle succumb to it's not able to withstand the transformation process, and it basically sort of collapses. And when it collapses, this fluid gushes all over, and the flesh kind of chunks off and dissolves and whatnot. And so you're assuming that this must be sort of waste byproduct or whatever of these animals not being able to.
Right. Yes, I've seen this before. Right. Yes, it's.
What is it?
It's like a biochemical. Well,
I'll give you one more piece of information from your vision, since you did roll a 6. Some of they're undead figures in the courtyard who then kind of shovel that stuff into a sewer shaft, and you assume that this is probably either a corpse or clogged up chunks of these transformed animals or mistransformed animals who are blocking this shaft that goes up. The shaft does continue on, but you now know exactly what you're looking at. I'm sorry.
Oh, right. There's these sewers. Actually, do I get the sense that would this sewer be the center? Or are we not that close yet? This could have been something that's traveled this far. I don't have that idea yet.
That you're not clear on. You don't see light coming down this particular shaft, so it's clearly not a direct shaft right to the surface.
Okay.
Well, it may lead into the courtyard, but you don't know.
Right. I say it's probably safe to go around it. Just don't eat it, because I've seen this stuff. It transforms. And you can explode from it. And it's not very...
You hear that, rookies? Don't put it in your mouth.
Yeah, we're not best.
Sorry, officer. Do you want to tell them not to put it in your mouth?
Rookies, don't put it in your mouth.
Thank you.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, did you describe at one point it was coming down as a wave at one point?
Yeah, it's a cascading sheet that kind of covers the whole So imagine you're in a sewer, and there's basically the same diameter pipe in the ceiling.
Yeah, totally.
And it's coming down through that whole thing, and what you can assume from what Baronet Farian has told you is that if there's some sort of clog or whatever above you, all of this fluid is being diffused by it, so there's not like a steady stream in the middle that you could walk around.
Yeah, totally.
Although, if you cleared it, there might be a way to do that.
But why would I want to?
I don't know. I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
Get in
hold
there,
your shields
hold up
up.
a shield. Yeah.
Use your magic umbrellas.
Walk underneath. Well, you're holding up the shield for everyone, right? You're big and strong.
That's what I was gonna say. As I have my big shield, I'm just holding it up and letting.
Or he just goes ahead and does that, and we wait here and then go through once it's cleared.
What are you comfortable with, Heavy?
Oh, you want me to unclog? You want me to roto-rooter? I'm not a plumber. Get under my shield. Walk under my shield. I will then get in front of everybody.
We all know what we signed up for. Let's get in there.
Yeah.
We don't. We
what
gotta
if we
do
need
this
that as an
quick.
escape hatch later?
We don't have. Then we.
Fine.
We don't have a lot of time. We don't have we don't have time to think about every potential future. We gotta get in there and then get out.
Let's
You
go.
heard the leader.
Yes, sir.
If you think it would require it, I'm happy to discipline the rookies through.
Well, first of all, let's just see. So let me clarify. The plan is that Red Vexing Wind is just going to go in, kind of provide enough cover that everybody can hustle through without getting too much of this goop on them,
Right.
and then you're going to kind of follow up in the back. Your goal is not to try and unclog this thing.
Well, I was going to then maneuver. I'm assuming there's enough room for us so that they can all go through, and then I can just sloop back around to the front.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, then I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm getting at is you're not going to do anything to try and tackle the source of this thing. It's just you're temporarily going to block it up and go.
We don't got time.
Very good. All
Mess
right.
around.
So I do feel like this is probably either no, this is largely I'm going to say a maneuver action on your part.
Okay. All right, I do have a maneuver.
Or actually, you're doing a setup, right? So
Yeah,
you're going to
'cause
set up to help everybody
The-
else.
The rest of us are gonna group action maneuver our way through it.
Right. So for a setup, okay. So that just helps everyone else. It gives them improved position if you can pull it off, right?
Yeah.
All right. So,
So
it's a setup action. You're gonna use maneuver to try and set everybody else up to do their own maneuver actions.
Okay.
So you have one die
I have
in.
one die in maneuver.
So there are a couple different things you can do to improve your odds. You can push yourself for 2 stress.
Okay.
That would give you another die. Someone can help you. That costs them 1 stress, but then they give you a die.
Okay.
Those are the 2 main things, right?
Devil's bargain.
You could do a devil's bargain. The devil's bargain would be you get an additional die, but you're getting this stuff on you for sure.
Fine.
There's no way
That's
you
fine.
can avoid it.
That's fine by me.
Okay.
I'm happy to assist as well. Like if you I'll get my shield up there also, but the devil's bargain is you're taking the brunt of it, and I'm being splash guard, right?
Sure. So you want to do that?
Yeah. So I'll take the stress to give you another die.
Okay. So I have 3.
So that's
die.
3. All right.
All right. To walk under ooze.
that's what you do.
All right. The best one I have is a 5.
The best you have is a 5. All right. So
Moderately successful.
Moderately successful. Okay.
Nice catch.
Okay.
I'm not entirely clear how a partial success on a setup works. I think you do it, but there must be some sort of consequence. We already inflicted a consequence on you. I think what it is so when I said this stuff is sort of like congealed fat, that's kind of like ribbons of it. What you don't realize is once it starts dripping on you, it starts seeking out your heat, right? So it starts, when it starts running down your arm, it doesn't run off the edge of your elbow like you think. It starts weaseling its way in your shirt sleeve and start going inside your armor and stuff like that. So first of all, I'm going to give you a point of corruption.
But I'm resistant to corruption.
Okay. All right. So right now you're resisting this corruption.
I'm resisting this corruption. I have a plus 2d to resist corruption.
Oh, okay. So you just roll to resist the corruption.
I can roll to resist this corruption.
Right. So I think corruption is typically a resolve
Oh, okay.
to resist corruption.
So I have a 2 in resolve.
Okay. So
that
then you
means I
roll
have
2 more
4?
dots. Mhm.
Okay. This is where you see how
So-
terrible I am at rolling dice.
So the way that this works is Ben is trying to reduce the consequence that he's taking here, the level of harm that he's going to take from this. He's going to try to reduce this point of corruption to 0, and he's going to take 6 stress minus the highest die that he rolls out of the dice pool here. So he's looking for if he gets a 6, he takes 0 stress. You got a 5?
I got a 5.
So you take another point of stress.
Stress is much better than corruption.
So is it stress?
Yeah.
Okay, so I take 1 point of stress.
Yes, but you're not taking any corruption. So this stuff, the way this plays out is this stuff tries to like worm its way inside and kind of like maybe even like get inside your body somehow, right? But you are so devout and steadfast in your will and your piousness and your divinity that you manage to sort of like repulse this stuff a little bit, and it ends up kind of just like drizzling off down into the water and kind of trailing off behind you.
But I still smell like orange.
Oh yeah, the stink is on you. All right, so everybody else is trying to move underneath the shield to get past this horrible oozing purple corruption that's pouring off of the your shields. You're not part of the group action because you're helping him.
Sure.
I don't think. But what we're going to do is we're going to
really screwed that up.
We're going to resolve this as a single roll. Or as a single roll for everybody, right? Rather than having you roll your maneuver and you roll your maneuver and the rookies roll a maneuver, we'll all roll our maneuver. The highest die out of the pool counts for the final result. So if between the 3 of us, because I'm going to roll for the rookies are going to roll 1. If between the 3 of us out of all of our maneuver we can get a 6, then we all get through successfully and everything's fine. If we get a 5, then everybody's probably going to have some sort of consequence but get through. And if we fail, then really bad things happen. And then the way this works, somebody has to lead this action. That's going to have to be one of the 2 of you.
I'll lead it.
And again, we take stress based on whatever we roll, right? So each failure that's in the pool here, that's 1 stress. So if you make it, but both of us roll 3 or less, that's 2 stress that you've got to take. Ooh. Are you ready to roll your maneuver?
Ooh. And so we're rolling our prowess score or maneuver score?
Your maneuver score, yeah. So do you have a dot in maneuver?
Oh, I only have 1.
Okay, so you roll 1.
So I have a 3 in prowess and a dot in maneuver. So I roll 1.
You roll 1, yeah. It's just the maneuver. Mm-hmm. All right, so 3 dice. I don't know if you can help, or I don't think you can.
You're already
push
helping.
yourself.
So if you had no dots,
if you have no dots,
roll at all, right?
you can roll. Oh. You roll 2 dice and you take the lower result. You basically roll with disadvantage.
That's cool.
So I would argue that I'm eventually going to have to get through this also. And like as a result, I could be a part of this action. Like assisting him doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not a part of this action.
All right.
And so that I could, in fact.
So you're gonna bail out and try and be part of the maneuver action once it happens.
I'm imagining that like in one sense like. I'm like assisting him, right, by like holding it up and like ushering other people through, but I'm like keeping an eye on people. At some point I'm gonna have to take my shield down and get through there in a way he's not. Like it seems like I am part of the group.
No, you can walk with your shield above your head.
Does that mean
you can still?
So I say that specifically because I have a lot of special abilities about leading group actions.
Right.
So
you don't have the top one. Keep in mind that I marked the second one, right?
Whenever you lead a group action, I can decrease the scale of the group, which seems like it would be nice here to make us appear to be an individual instead of the full group. And also, we collectively can account... so we get a critical hit if we get more than 1 6.
Right.
I also have +1 die in group actions as one of my heritage traits.
All right. So you're gonna take part in this.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Let's roll. The rookies...
Oh,
Oh,
6.
Rookie's got a 6.
Ooh.
Oh, so
Yeah.
we just needed 2 sixes in the
6.
group to
Oh, so you
Yeah, it's a
make
crit.
it.
Did you?
everybody got a 6
Everyone
except you?
covered it except.
After that whole thing.
After that whole thing. Well, but my ability still makes it so that we get a critical hit instead of
Yes.
just a regular 6.
So you get a critical success. You have to take 1 stress
I
because
do.
you failed. Not because you failed, but because there was a failure in the group. All right.
Specifically, you failed.
Specifically.
Well, I was taking that
failed.
splash damage because I was assisting you.
It's
like,
true.
It was,
You tried to do too much.
I mean, I was trying to help so no one would have to take it.
yeah, exactly.
All right. So I think the way that this plays out is twofold. You got a critical success. First of all, everybody gets through without taking any more corruption, right? And I'm going to generously extend that to red fixing win because you got a crit. And on top of it, you all sort of scurry down the passageway and turn to the left, and then you can see that it looks like there's some sort of ladder that goes up down at the end of the passageway.
cool.
So it appears that you have like successfully navigated the sewers thanks to your terrific collective action here.
I would have loved to spend another half an hour in the sewer. And...
Yeah, see, that's the great thing about this is like, you know what? We're done with this part of it. That was the dramatic result. Let's move on to the rest. All right, so that's kind of a little bit. While we are, however, at this portion of the events, I'm going to roll on our clock. So Zora is very skilled at fighting, and the way that this is going to work is if she gets a critical success on her 4 dice, because she is a very potent being, she only adds 1 tick to this clock. If she gets a single success, not a crit, she adds 2 ticks. And if she gets a mixed result, that's 3. And if she fails, the highest thing she gets on these 4 dice is a 3 or lower. That adds 4 ticks to the clock.
Oh, dear God.
So that's where we're at. But Zora is a 1-person tank.
Hey.
So she got a 6. She adds 2 ticks to this clock. So that zeroes out that wedge and zeroes out that wedge. So she's got 8 left. Maybe at this point you hear kind of like from up above somewhere in the castle the sounds of yelling, people calling for backup and more firepower on the parapets or whatever it is. But it's very clear that Zora's diversionary maneuver has begun and is in full swing at this point.
So these undead, they're not like shambling undead. They are thinking undead?
They run the gamut.
Okay.
Right? So in your battles, both at Markfields and kind of like pushing the Cinder King's forces back, you have either seen or heard of your basic kind of like ghoulish, kind of shambling, mindless undead guys. You've also encountered these strange beings that are very thin and lithe that wear plague bearer masks. And they seem to be somehow able to control the lesser undead. You have seen enormous kind of bloated creatures that are like 12 feet tall that have been made into undead kind of like giants by people being infused with various alchemical fluids and whatnot. You've heard horror stories of witch creatures flying on the backs of undead bats that fly around, descend on the battlefield and snatch soldiers off the battlefield and just kind of fling them, to their deaths and whatnot. So it goes all the way from just brutal fighting machines and mindless like flesh-gnawing zombie type creatures up to creatures that can bend your mind with just some sort of weird supernatural gesture.
Okay.
So
we all Scooby-Doo poke our heads up through the sewer.
I have a question for you, which is, how did Zora know about this sewer? Like,
Do we know that? Or do you want us
this
to
is
play
something.
answer that?
This is something that we get to. One of the basic tenets of this game, especially, but these games in general, is the game's a conversation, right? So I don't have a bunch of like backstory on like, oh well, it's so and so, blah blah blah, and da 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 da. It's like, and also I don't care. So why don't we talk about? Okay, Zora clearly knew that the commander was being held here, and also knew somehow that there was this back way into the sewer. What did she explain? What her source was for her information, and who is that, or what is that? Where did it come from?
So this like chateau is fairly near the battlefield, right?
Yeah, I would. I mean, yeah. It's again, like I don't have a planned idea of like it's 2 miles away.
Yeah.
I would say it's on the outskirts. It's not like it's off the beaten path. This is definitely was not like a major. If this was closer to the bridge and the road that goes over to Edmark Fields and whatnot, then it would probably have been like a central command post rallying point. So given what we see here in this picture, it must be out of the way and not particularly strategically important.
Sure. This may not fit then, but I like the idea of Zora having defended this chateau from the other side and like lost, because it gives her sort of like she was like defending the chateau at one point and like did a perimeter sweep to look for its weaknesses at that time, like, and then did not succeed in holding the place, and so her coming back here and like attacking the front, it like has a sort of like emotional element for her.
So let me add a piece of information here. Most chosen, when they are imbued, when they enter into this contract with whatever god like makes them this offer, they're supercharged with divine energy, and that divine energy sort of like burns out their mortal form. And so whenever their mission is fulfilled, they tend to kind of just like waste away and die. Like they are still mortal creatures, right? Zora has never wasted away. She actually appeared like 100 years ago in a completely different battle on a different set of circumstances, and then it has sort of like she gets done with the battle or with her part in the war, and then she just walks away and goes God knows where and does whatever until she's needed again, and then she kind of like shows up. But it's not this kind of like teleport in, boom, here I am. It's
What if the Chosen all had a connection and one of the other Chosen is in the castle? Whether it's one of the good ones or one of the bad ones.
Ooh.
Also good.
So you're saying either an imprisoned chosen good guy or a corrupted
A broken.
I mean, it's more interesting if it was a broken.
But
Maybe
But
we
I
don't
really
know.
don't want to face a broken. You know?
I do.
Maybe we don't know. Maybe she doesn't know. There's that connection, and they
so
share knowledge or
so I'm gonna here's my return pitch on this this idea, which is she knows that a chosen, maybe not necessarily in the most recent battle, because remember that this place has been taken over once before and then taken over again, right? So the Cinder King pushed east and then got pushed back, and now he's on the push one more time. So maybe during one of these either offenses or retreats, she knows that a chosen died here.
Oh, okay.
Now, whether they got broken or not, like what their fate was, may not be known to her or to us.
But that would have provided like pretext for her to have checked the place out before.
Yeah, maybe
looked for
when
her.
they die, they can share knowledge.
Yeah,
Because
possible.
that would be like a burst of information to try and keep
Or the
their...
collective
I will say that
Fight
the various gods who do this are jealous of their own domains,
Got it.
right? So like the god of the Panyar, like had the Panyar gods have their portfolio and their forest and whatnot, and the moon and whatnot, and then they don't care about what goes on over in the Zemyati territories, and the god of the Zemyati, like, the Zemyati might have 100 gods, and the Panyar have 3, and they don't, that doesn't mean they don't have awareness of each other and they don't share, but it's not like, if you want to think of it as like, it's not like the elven pantheon where everybody's like on the same side and we all want to like share each other. It's a little bit more siloed than maybe what you're suggesting, but I do like the idea that, I mean, it could also be one of the gods, one of the chosen of the Zemyati. Like, there's multiple gods of the Zemyati, so it could be an old Zemyati chosen who died here.
I mean, if she's hundreds of years old too, or 100 years old or whatever, like it's totally reasonable that like a chosen died here at some point, whether that was a year ago on the last offensive or 80 years ago or whatever.
Right.
But just like at some point, she came here and checked the place out, and like as a result knows the
she's
defenses.
been here before.
Like,
Okay.
Ultimately, the thing we're trying to do is decide how she knew about the sewer, right? Like,
Well, and I guess ultimately what I'm trying to decide is how reliable is the information that she gave you.
Totally.
That's really what I'm getting at. Does she have, like, what we have arrived at here is she has firsthand knowledge of this place. It could have just been she went and grilled a bunch of prisoners, and that's how she found out about it or whatever. And it could have been some guy who was like, well, I heard that there's a sewer and I don't know where it goes, but apparently it's a way in.
Yeah. But
so that's really what I'm trying to get.
I mean, we've already established she has the power to, like, her halo can see into the, like, saw the cow creatures being, like, so she's been scouting this place via the halo already.
Or that could have just been a memory.
I mean, that could be a one-time, like, maybe she can't see it at all, and maybe maybe it's Baronet who's able to use the halo to see stuff.
Gotcha.
or maybe she can only see where the undead are, and the undead haven't been here before. Like that's also true.
Yeah, it's all. These are things that we can kind of debate back and forth and whatnot. But I think the ultimate point that's relevant here is she's sure that this is a good way in.
Yeah.
So all right. So if that's the case, then what room did she tell you that this ladder that you've kind of arrived at? What room does it open into?
Let's see where.
I mean, so a lab, like a laboratory.
Okay. All right. So you come down, and there's a ladder here, but what you see is, like, there's a set of jakes above you, right? The typical kind of like three, next to each other kind of outhouse, kind of like, you stare up and there's a shaft and there's three different holes going in there, and it empties directly into the.
What did you call them?
The jakes.
Jakes.
Is that like a Western, like,
Never heard of it
cowboy
before.
term, or is
I
it?
think it's military, isn't it?
I don't remember.
It's military.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they call it the jakes.
Is it just a bathroom? Is that what the Jakes? Oh, okay. All right.
So we Scooby-Doo our heads up each through one of the holes.
All right, very good.
But no one's currently using them.
No, nobody's currently using them. Who decides to look? Like,
I'll look.
Okay.
That's what I do.
All right, so why don't you just give me a fortune roll with your scout ability, just so I can determine what the situation is that you're walking into. So if you go to scout, you have, I believe, 2 dots of scout.
It's an insight.
Oh, it's inside.
Yeah.
Yes. I have.
Okay, so roll 2 dice, and the higher you get, the better things are for you.
Not so good.
2 and a
Not
1.
so good.
Oh wow.
All right. So, like I said, nobody's using the jakes right now. But part of that is because the door to the jakes has been ripped off. And it's just open into the rest of the dungeon. And you see a hulking set of plate mail go walking directly by. Conk, conk, conk. And it doesn't have, it has like a regular hand on its right hand, but you can see as it walks, it doesn't have a left hand. It has a huge glowing red axe that's glowing with heat that's just sort of like protruding off the stump of its arm. You don't see any human features on this thing. It's wearing a set of full plate that seems to be completely sealed from the top all the way to the bottom. You do see a couple vents, like on the neck, the side of the head, and on the chest plate that have little valves in them, and they are piping sort of a bright purplish steam that's just kind of like comes whistling and puffing out of those valves. And it goes clomp, 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 and walks maybe a total of 10 feet, and it goes clomp, 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 clomp. We're going to take a 10-minute break while everybody at the table here goes to the jakes. We'll be back in 10 minutes, everybody, for more Band of Blades. Stick around.
Giveaway after the break.
We'll do our first giveaway after the break. So if you have not done exclamation point raffle, please make an entry. If you're a subscriber, of course, you get 5 extra entries. We're giving away 2 copies of Band of Blades, and I'm going to give a PDF to one of our international friends who's watching overseas. So we'll see you here in 10 minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back to the RPG Exploration Society. I am your host and game master, Tom Lommel, and thanks for sticking with us through the break here. We are back, and we are ready to give away our first copy. We're giving away 2 copies. Tonight we're playing Blades in the Dark. It is designed by Off Guard Games, and it is published by Evil Hat. It is available in fine stores, fine game stores, and online right now as we speak. It came out last Gen Con. So you can get this if you don't win a copy tonight. You can just go out and pick one up if you like what you see and you want to learn more. As I said at the top of the stream, it is very heavily inspired by Glenn Cook's The Black Company. So if you enjoy those novels and that genre, you will definitely enjoy playing this. And if you enjoy what we're doing tonight, maybe you would enjoy playing a whole campaign of your own. So, Dom, are we ready to ring the magical Raffaloni button and give away our first one? The hardcover is only available to U.S. backers, U.S. Subscribers, or U.S. citizens, I guess. We're only mailing it to places in the U.S. Locals. I mean, that's relatively
Localish.
And our winner of our first copy is RPG Clyde. Congratulations. Whisper to Dom your info and shipping address and details and whatnot, or email address, and we will get you this copy of Band of Blades in your very own hand. We still have a PDF for our international backers, to international viewers, to give away, and we have another copy that we're going to give away at the end of the stream tonight. So, when we last left our heroes, they had just poked their head through the outhouses and the Jakes in the, which we learned is Irish, the Jakes in the dungeon of the keep, and had essentially come face to face, or axe to axe, with a lumbering, armored, infernal monstrosity that is 10 feet away or so. I have started in the break 2 additional clocks, so we have 1 clock running for Zora is forced to retreat. She's doing very well on her mission of distraction. However, we have 2 other clocks that are now running. The castle goes on alert. In other words, they become aware of your presence. And the Commander Dunyovna's mind is broken. If you don't get there in time, they are lost. So those are on the table. What is the mechanical effect, or what's the importance of this thing? If I choose not to do physical harm to our friends here at the table as a result of one of their actions, or if they fail something that doesn't seem to have a direct repercussion as it pertains to the fiction at hand, I can say, oh, interesting, and then just start checking off boxes on this clock. Well, you know, you decided to do some scouting. Not only did you not notice what's down the hallway, but you've burned some time and the commander's mind is closer to breaking. Or you made some noise and the castle is more likely to be suspicious or aware of your presence. So that's the joy of clocks, is we have 3 clocks running. They give me a lot of narrative avenues with which to punish the players here, other than just straight doing damage. So that's one of the things I love about this game. All right, so now I was not rolling to see I was not having you roll to see how well you snuck into the bottom entrance of the dungeon here. I was rolling to see what your position is, right? So you are what I would consider to be in desperate position. In the Forged in the Dark system, it has 2 dimensions. So there's the Powered by the Apocalypse action or axis of you get exactly what you want, you do the thing you're trying to do, but you suffer some consequences for it, or you fail at what you're trying to do. That's one axis here within Forged in the Dark games as well. But the other axis is what's your position. So if you're in controlled position, let's say you're a sniper who's hidden at the top of like a church tower or something like that, and you've decided to take a shot at the commander who's 200 yards away. You're in a controlled position. They don't know that you're there. You have plenty of time to set up the shot. You can wait for the conditions to be right so that he's not, getting. You have a clear shot, etc. Very controlled. Very little risk to yourself as a result of your action. Risky position is sort of like 2 opponents fighting, hand to hand. you're exposed to risk because they could hit you just as easily as you could hit them. That's risky. Desperate position, I like to give the example, is that opponent has knocked you down. They've knocked your weapon out of your hand. You're splayed on the ground, and they're rising up to strike the death blow. And you want to roll out of the way, or you want to stab them back with the dagger that you have hidden in your boot. You're in a desperate position. If this doesn't go well, it goes really badly for you.
And see, this is where I thrive. I am a daredevil, so
That's
I get
true.
a bonus die when I am in a desperate situation.
Oh,
Exactly. So, I would say you're in a desperate situation because this thing is very close. It's very likely to notice you, and it is appears to be a very heavily armored and intimidating opponent. So, you poke your head up. I don't know. What do you want to do?
I look around and then I'm gonna duck it back down as soon as I see what's up there. I mean, that was my job.
What was up there?
There's a big plated guy. He's got purple steam coming off of it, and an axe hand. The way that Zora has her fire blade, he's got a fire axe, and it's not so good.
Let's ambush him.
Okay.
What?
huh?
What?
No, let's find the commander.
Well, Commander's not there.
And
Great, that's one down.
It's one
All right, I'm
in
gonna
a
need you
way.
to go back up there and cross out another.
But if he's there,
Yes, sir.
If Flame Axe is there, we're gonna have to go through Flame Axe.
Well,
Or we wait till he leaves on patrol.
yeah, is he just standing?
Yeah,
He
is
was,
he
he was
patrolling,
walking, right? He was.
So the brief moment, the glimpse that you had of him, he walked maybe 10 feet away and stopped.
Okay. I have a mirror. Is there any way it's in my soldier's kit? Is there any way I could jerry rig it so it can look up and see what's going on? I have no rig skill.
So here's the tricky part of that is you could certainly probably without much effort get a mirror that goes like up and sees out the jakes, right? Because I've described how the doors have been ripped off and it looks like it, opens out into a hallway. But he went around, he went to the right.
Okay.
And so you'd have to actually have kind of like two mirrors, one that would give you out and then another one that would give you around the corner. That feels pretty complicated to my sensibilities.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you need to like be up in the jakes.
You
and
could
then
be
use
up,
the mirror.
yeah, you would get up in there and maybe look around the corner with your
Yeah.
mirror. That's a path of action that's available to you.
It seems like what we need here is someone to pull a Zora, make us a nice little distraction. The rest of us can keep going and find the commander, get them out of here.
Right, well.
Why are you looking at me? Okay. I go hit things.
You're great at that. I mean,
I already said okay. Do you want to more? You want to rally me some more?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Will it give me bonus dice in my action?
I don't think so, but
Well,
Well, I'm just saying, if we ambush them, I get an extra die.
cool.
I mean, if you two want to go,
We could
go
tag team
do a
this.
distraction,
Yes.
distraction team together.
Or
By
we
all
could,
means.
throw something far away from us.
I have small explosives.
That
So,
works.
so just put some framing around the context of the situation here, right? There's just above you is a very small room that's maybe 10 feet across. That maybe another 4 or 5 feet away from that opens into this hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is at most 10 feet away looking down that hallway is what you're guessing. Or at least positioned somewhere, like its field of view is in the area. So in terms of your ability to like sneak around, you don't have a lot of space to like sneak around.
But it's
in
looking
terms of-
away from the jakes,
we've
right?
You
got,
don't know.
We've got like a
You don't
T
know.
intersection here. We're here in this room.
So
And
we
then
get
there's a hallway,
we could start by going
and the
up,
creature's here.
doing your great
right?
mirror idea. Like from the jakes,
Oh.
you could look around the corner, see exactly what it's up to. From there, like, if we have any room to maneuver, maybe one person can sneak out, make a distraction somewhere else and draw its attention. If we have no room to maneuver, maybe someone just, like, sprints out of the jakes, with firecrackers going off of them or whatever we can rig up, and then the rest of us can, like, run in the other direction.
And that sounds like the job of a red shirt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's fair.
If we're setting someone on fire.
So just to clarify, you do have a squad of grunts with you. The fiction doesn't really generally break down into, like, we're going to peel them off onesie twosie.
Yeah.
So if you decide to order one of the grunts to do this, number one, you're probably going to have to coerce them to do it because they're...
It's a suicide mission.
It's pretty... and then number two, if he does not get a success, any sort of mixed result will kill this guy. These guys don't have levels of harm like you guys do. Mm-hmm. They basically have a box that says I'm alive or I'm not.
I see.
So just keep that in mind.
Is it worth...
That's up to you. That part of it you decide for yourself. Whether you care about the other grunts in the squad or not is a personal
if we can get a sense of this thing, if we can get the view of the mirror, then we can progress from there, I think.
So let's send you back up to do some recon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we've established that this is a desperate situation. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. That does give you a bonus die just because of your daredevil trait. And you're going to do this is typically a scout move.
Okay. So I have 2, and then I'm adding 1 for my desperation. Oh, there's 2 6s, and this was on the edge, so I'm going to re-roll. 2 6s and a 5.
Well, the 2 6s is what matters. All right, so you get a critical success in this situation.
Nice.
All right, so it's the best possible outcome. You scamper up the ladder soundlessly. Maneuver again across what are probably... I don't know. I always picture this dungeon as being sort of like damp cobblestones and stuff like that.
That's a wobbly tile right there. I'm going to not step on that one.
And just sort of like tiptoe your way. And then you tell me whether it's up high or down low, but like the mirror just like ever so slightly.
I think I'm going to start low and just use it to angle up high.
So you angle up. And here's what you can ascertain from your position. Away from this thing, facing to your left as you face into the hallway, there's a staircase that goes up. And it looks like it maybe leads up under the courtyard. You can tell from some of the noise and whatnot coming from there that's where, somewhere in that direction is where there's the skirmish and the fight, the big distraction fight is happening. So you get that. Like, this must lead into the keep proper, up and out of the dungeon.
Okay.
However, the other thing that you can tell is there is this enormous, pot-bellied stove of an ogre thing, whatever it is. This metal automaton axe thing, this steaming infernal abomination, appears to be guarding the end of the dungeon hallway. And at the end, 2 things. A number of those hoses that Baronet had seen in her vision go out the hallway and along the floor and up the stairs and whatnot. But a bunch of them converge at a room behind this thing. And you hear the sounds of feet on cobblestone, so like soft footfalls, like soft and wet, like bare feet on wet stone. And you also hear the sound of like something wooden being turned, right? So it almost sounds like if you were to go to a flour mill and you hear the axle of a flour mill turning without the water of the waterfall turning the gear. Like, that's what it sounds like a wooden post or some sort of wooden set of wooden gears that are interlocking. You can hear the wood against wood of the wood grinding in a circle, and also the teeth kind of like clattering together.
Okay.
That's what you hear from behind this thing. But the other bad news is this thing is looking down the hallway towards the staircase.
Of course.
So it almost seems to be like guarding this room from whatever conflagration and fight his
question.
head. Yes.
On these things, do we know anything about these creatures? Like, do we know if we can just take them down, or like this particular type of creature? What level of difficulty is it usually to take them
Is
down?
there a flashback that could
Like,
happen?
is it worth pulling my bow and arrow and using some black tip arrows to try and just take it out, or is it?
So just to give you kind of an idea of what you're asking in terms of relative scale, like an unarmored zombie, you have no problem killing with a single blow, right? For the most part, like without a lot of effort, you can cut down a zombie. They're not particularly fast and they're not particularly hardy. And to a blade or a bow shot, they are felled probably slightly easier than a normal human being.
Okay.
An opponent with some armor takes more effort, right? Opponent that's heavily armored like this thing, and it has some sort of like infernal or unnatural power attached to it, is probably the equivalent of like you're heavy,
Okay.
you know?
So, like, is
and-
this the sort of thing
so-
where,
so-
like, in terms of power level, is black shot or black tipped arrows, is that the kind of thing where with a normal zombie you just take a regular weapon and it's like silver weapon versus, or are you talking like, holy blessed, this is going to take this thing down?
Two pieces of information. One, black shot. I always describe it as sort of like some sort of it's a match to it sets a match to the combustible skin of the undead.
Okay.
Right. So you hit something with black shot that's undead, and whatever unnatural corruption is fueling this thing causes that energy to just combust, and they sort of like burn in place.
Okay.
Right. What it's not good against is anything physical. So if you shoot it against a piece of plate armor
Yeah.
and it doesn't penetrate and touch the skin, the match doesn't touch the tinder and it doesn't catch fire. So in other
What
words,
about
this.
the axe?
So the axe is glowing, but it's metal. It's glowing because it's so hot.
Oh, it is metal. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was magical.
Right.
Okay, so it's metal.
You know, it's probably-
fused to the arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. He has a boomstick.
So that's one piece of information, is that black shot is not very potent against something that's armored unless you can figure out a way to get it to touch the undead or corrupting influence inside.
Got it.
But the other thing I will say, just generally, right, is you generally do like 2 levels of harm because you are a trained soldier and you're using very good equipment compared to everybody else, right? You can improve your level of effect, so you can do level 3 harm by pushing yourself, by making a devil's bargain, etc. So you can actually like make death blows against things that should not fell in one clean
Okay.
axe swing, but it requires a good roll. It
Stress.
requires you to invoke stress or get help or scale or whatever it is. So in other words, like a squad of rookies normally can't kill a heavy, for instance. But if they all work together and they get a good roll and circumstances are right, they just kill that guy like without getting any harm.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So it's not like D&D where like you are maxed out on how much damage you can do, and this thing has 60 hit points and you can do 12 points of damage. Well, too bad. No, you can actually like put multiplying effects of, well, all 4 of us are going to attack. I'm going to have like we did a group action to get underneath the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could lead a group action. The 3 of us are all going to jump this thing at the same time and try and get improve our effect so that we do more damage, because we normally don't have the ability to strike this blow.
Okay.
So
Then
that
I'm gonna
gives you kind of-
head back and relay this information to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Couple thoughts here. Maybe we collapse the tunnel so that nothing can get in from the courtyard. Perhaps.
with the explosives, but then we have to fight the thing. I still like the plan of sending the heavy off on a distraction mission. Maybe send the heavy off to like run back and regroup with Zora at the front, draw this thing off of here, and then we can sneak in.
You don't want me anymore?
I
mean, that's fine.
I think you're the person least likely to die and, mess things up on that
but
mission.
wouldn't you want me around?
Absolutely.
So-
Do you have a better alternative?
I kind of like your idea.
Fight this thing?
Yes.
You want?
But if we can get it distracted by possibly tossing the
Yeah, and
Figuring
maybe
out a way to make it-
collapse the courtyard to make it
go check it out.
check it out. Maybe we get behind it and then take it down.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds hard.
The other thing is it's in full armor. Is that that armor's fully fused, right?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you don't see any exposed like in regular plate mail. You would see there would still be points where at the joints you would see something that you could get a blade into. This thing seems to be like a fully articulated, sealed set.
Oh, but
of
it
armor.
is fully articulated.
But it does have
my hope
it has
was that
tubes.
And then
Yeah, there's a couple there's like I said, there's a vent like on the head and on the neck, and there's one in the chest for sure. There might be one or two others, but like those are the ones that you immediately saw. Like it's like a circular.
it can look
It's a
up.
circular.
It doesn't have a helm that's going to prevent it from.
Would
looking
you
up,
be
'cause I
able
was
to
thinking of
pop
climbing along
shot?
the ceiling.
One of the vents.
sure would like to try.
I could take a
But-
shot with my
This
bow and arrow
sounds-
too.
Mm.
This sounds incredibly messy. I don't like the sound of any of this. I don't like taking this thing on. This thing sounds.
There's not going to be a way to get in that room otherwise.
We need to distract the thing. I just don't think it's a good idea to send a squad of us against people that are some solid metal furnace.
All right, officer has the final say.
Okay.
We trust you.
What's
So
the?
you want me to run, and what?
So what's your best plan? What's your best proposal?
I mean, my best plan is we keep things from coming in the side.
Yep.
Let me see. Actually, is there something? Keep things from coming in the side. We can. I think we try and get this thing down. I think we take it from range as best we can. Try and cut the tubes if we can, and then see what happens if that armor goes away. Maybe we can then get some black shot in there.
So your best plan is to hope for the best.
No,
you-
my best
it's
plan
not-
is to take a solid shot with my bow and arrow and her skills.
And have you seen my warhammer? It's very big.
Oh, we send it down the other way so that there's nothing between the room that we suspect the commander is in and us.
Yep, and there's stuff in that room, by the way. There's feet. I heard a bunch of feet
Yeah.
on the cobblestone. Some unshooed feet,
Yeah.
and then some shoed feet, and then a wooden wheel.
The three of you hold the thing off. The rookies and I will go in, get the commander, and get out.
But without you, we can't really work as a team.
There's three of you right here. You're fully capable.
Right, but when you're here, it's a lot easier to work together.
I can
Well,
anchor
does one of you want to go in and get the commander then? I just don't.
I think we're gonna need more than one of us getting the commander, but you're in
Well,
charge,
there's
sir.
6 other people right here. Me,
Well, but there's a different level of skill, sir.
count them as one person as a whole.
Then you have
We're standing here right in front of all the
There's
rookies.
a moment where when you say that, like a bunch of the rookies like look at each other and then they look at you and they're like, mm-hmm.
Or how about the 2 of you take the rookies, go after this thing, and 2 of us go and get the commander and get out. Here's the compromise I'm willing to make. If you're right and we are able to take some amount of us are able to take this down, that's great. But if you're not, the mission still needs to succeed. We still need someone to get in there, get that commander, and get out again. Or at the very least,
Can I use a flashback here to try and do research on this creature and know if
Sure.
there are weaknesses to it?
Yeah, that's fine. How do you propose?
So
How do you propose this?
I have a level of research.
Uh-huh.
If I may.
Yeah.
Also,
please.
if I was fighting on the front line, I feel like these things would probably have been in the battle. If they were in the battle, maybe I would have seen them get taken down
Yeah.
or not get taken down.
Sure. I mean, that's in the realm of possibility, but like the way that flashbacks typically work is I need you to describe or justify what action you would have taken that would have given you this specific knowledge.
Well,
Like
it would
it can be a
it would be
flashback. It doesn't have to
fighting
be a flashback to today, but it could be a flashback.
I mean,
to,
can I be as specific as saying in our fight, in our desperate last stand, I saw one of these things.
Okay.
It's almost like a flashback research, right? That like you were in the middle of battle, but you like took note of this.
Yeah,
Right.
you watched things. We all watched things fight, and some of them died. Not as many as our side, but some
All right.
of them were killed.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this seems like a fairly like you're not gonna get If that's the flashback is to I've seen these things in action on the battlefield, then
It's specifically I've seen these things felled in combat.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well.
The outcome of the roll might determine whether you've seen them felled or not.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, it's. I'm gonna give you a choice here, which is. I'll give you 1 stress for I've seen these things in combat, and if you roll high, you've actually seen them specifically felled, right? If you want to have definitively seen them specifically defeated, then that's going to be a 2 stress flashback because it is incredibly useful and specific to this moment.
I will use 2 stress
Okay.
on it.
All right.
And I'm using on... So I'm just burning 2 stress to do that?
You're burning 2 stress to invoke the flashback, and then you're using, I believe, research probably.
Okay.
So
So that's only 1 die.
I could be convinced to allow scout as well
I'll take scout.
because that seems appropriate
And
to.
would that be considered a desperate circumstance?
No, there's nothing desperate. You clearly survived this thing, whatever it was.
We
But
could
you
maybe
didn't know
argue
at the time.
we could maybe argue that you were able to assist in this flashback
Yeah.
by like also having been there, right, and like putting together the info that you saw together.
Yeah, as I'm
later.
describing it, everyone's kind of going, oh yeah,
I'm not sure you
remember
can help
seeing
on a roll, but if you're willing to burn a stress, then I'll give you an additional
That's
die.
that's
Okay.
what I meant. Yeah.
Oh my. I got a 5, 1, and 2.
5, 1, and 2. All right. So your information isn't 100% reliable, but the ones that you have seen that have not just been like destroyed through brute force, because you know that these things can take a lot of damage, right? And you know that they hit really hard. So the ones that have not been destroyed through, say, like siege weapons or artillery,
Jesus.
you know that it involves cracking that vent open and either stuffing Blackshot inside or just popping enough of them off that the thing begins to slow down. Like there's something about this vent system that allows them to be like focused and mobile and act with clarity and force, whereas you had an experience where you saw somebody just desperately like ripped a couple of them off, and it seemed to slow the thing down and maybe even get it to like to be a little confused or less deliberate or more clumsy in its actions.
Okay, so this is definitely a job for you and me. I think.
Right? Fair enough.
Right? Aiming for it, specific targets, shooting from a distance.
Yes.
I mean, I still like this plan of like you do your best to like keep it busy. The two of you do your best to, and smash it up if you can, right? The two of you go for the accurate shots.
I mean, like, right now it's standing still. You get it running down the hall, it's a harder target to hit.
But there's no way we're getting up there without it noticing us.
It's true.
Well, you can get up there, fine.
Get that first shot out.
It's the... Yeah. Because if you've mapped this out correctly, we're still off out of its sight line at this point. If we come out of the sewer.
Yeah.
It's just...
It gets pretty crowded up there. Like, it's not... You're not going to be able to get 10 people in a
Right.
3-stall chase.
No.
That's just not going to happen.
Right.
We'd be sending up like one party to engage, like start the engagement, and then either the plan where we all just engage it, right, is like we're going in there like single file. You're like taking your initial shot, and then we're all just like cramming into the hallway after it. Whereas,
I mean, you got a sniper.
yeah,
You gotta let her snipe, right?
Could it be
It's gotta
easier?
snipe.
Do they have vents on the back?
That's a good question.
I don't know that you have seen enough of this particular one, or if you've seen that before. I don't think you have that level of reliability.
Because what I'm willing to do
Yeah.
is compromise with your plan. Me come out, set something off, or start distracting it going so that it's facing me while you guys can get out and it's distracted so you can try to take it down from behind.
That's what I was thinking the whole time, really.
Okay.
Let me clarify. On this one, you saw those 3 for sure, right?
Right.
But on most of these things, they have more than, they probably have a half dozen, they probably have 6. So it's likely that it has more, whether they're all, there are 2 that are conveniently located on the back or whatever, who knows?
Okay.
But it's likely that it has more than just, they all seem to have 1 on the chest that you've witnessed. And then the rest of it is...
Here's the plan that I am about to decide on. Although I'm willing to take last minute feedback or passion pleas to do something else. We're going to. Did someone say they had explosives?
I have explosives.
So, I think we rig ourselves up some explosives.
Yes.
We fling them down the hall, to try to collapse the hall. Okay. At the very least, the explosion should draw its attention.
Yes.
It comes down. Hopefully, it checks out the. If we've done our job right, it checks out the explosion rather than immediately checking out us. Right. So it goes down towards the explosion, past the door of the Jakes. We lure it down there. If worse comes to worse, and checking out the Jakes, then y'all's job is to lead it down in that direction.
Uh-huh.
The rookies and I then go down, rescue the commander, while hopefully you are doing your best to engage it without dying in a way to give these 2 a clear shot to slow it down.
Okay.
Right? And then hopefully we can get the commander, get out. Either you'll have taken it down or it'll be close and we can come in to support you at that point. Or if things aren't going well, we all just get the heck out of there.
Okay.
If people feel very strongly that we should really just go for the throat on this thing, well, I don't the lives will be on my hands, and I don't want that.
The way that it's described, it doesn't sound like we can group up all 10 of us in the Jakes. It sounds like it's a 3-person situation most of the time. What I would even though I have the explosives, I'm willing to give it to one of our sharpshooters to try to aim it better so that it seems like it doesn't come from even though he's looking down here. Make sure that it's explosion city and not just he sees a thing of TNT
absolutely.
coming out of the Jakes.
Absolutely, yes.
So if we're okay with that,
that's what I'm hoping for.
Then stage 1, one of y'all takes part of my wrecking kitten, chucks it down the hall, explodey. If that happens well, it goes off without looking into the Jakes, and then we can get out while it's investigating and get a better position for you 2 to try to take them out. Or I can, use Smashy. I call him Smashy.
My quick clarification.
Smashy?
The room that we suspect the commander to be in is not adjacent to the Jakes, is it?
No, so
okay.
This is where we are. We are in here.
Mm-hmm.
The creature is here guarding this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Great.
And then
so we couldn't blow open
this.
the wall of the Jakes to try to get to the room with the commander.
No, because we don't even think it doesn't necessarily have the commander in there. It's some sort of pump house
or
grinding thing
from us.
Oh, I think they're running all of this fluid into a big
creature.
The creature.
IV kind of system.
You think the creature's 10 feet away from the door?
Okay, so it's real close.
It's real close, yeah. Like to be clear, you're still in a fairly desperate situation here.
We can't see them. We can't see him.
You can't see it, no, which is good, because you spent a lot of time maybe having a lot of conversation very close to it. But my understanding is you're down in the sewer, right?
Yeah,
we're down in the sewers. Yeah. We all good with this plan?
Let's do it.
Rookies, we're doing this plan.
All right.
Sorry,
we don't sound like that.
Sorry.
No. What was that noise? I thought I heard a small child. Oh, I did.
Oh, shots fired.
All right, PvP time.
All right, so just to recap, the plan seems to be throw some explosives down the hall, hoping to lure the thing away, and maybe get an attack on its hind flank while some portion of the squad goes into the room to investigate and hopefully find the commander.
I'm not expecting the explosion to get any sort of like damage on this thing. I'm just expecting it to like lure it away, so hopefully these folks can get a clear shot of it.
Okay.
Can I rig the explosive to an arrow and shoot him down the hall?
I don't know. How well can you roll on rig?
Not well at all.
I can do it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right?
Yeah.
If you can do
Very
it,
good
then
at
I can
rigging.
shoot it. But
It's quite my thing to rig things.
The baronet of rigging down here.
Right.
Love it.
All right. Is that the plan? You're
rig
gonna
some
love
try
this
it?
plan.
explosives
I
and,
wanna be a part
then
of this
I'll
plan.
reload with the black tip arrows.
I will rig it and she will throw
All
it.
right. So roll your rig. I don't know if you're going to either push or get assistance or
I am going
take
to
a devil's bargain.
I'm going to push this.
That's 2 stress. How many stress have you taken so far?
2.
Okay, so they'll put you up at 4.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, so
Uh,
what does
four-
it do?
four
Oh,
stress,
4
one
stress.
die.
Okay, so I get 1 extra die.
Yes.
I get 2 from my rig.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can do? No.
Ambush.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're setting this
rigging.
up for
But
your
you get
bow,
a bonus
right?
for
So you could assist on this.
Okay, then I'll assist on it. Sure.
take a stress.
Okay, so
for
you
that.
take a stress for that.
So that's 4.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ready?
Let's do it. 4 is a lot of dice. We'll be fine.
6.
That's
Nice.
5, 2.
All right. Very good. So, yeah, you rig a bunch of alchemical explosions onto this giant kind of like bow head, and I think that's going to give you probably better effect, not necessarily better position.
Okay.
All right. So, I feel like this bow shot of yours is probably a, I don't know, sway?
Is it sway or is it shoot? I mean, they're the same, actually, so...
Okay, well then I would say it's a sway roll because you're trying to deceive this guy, right?
Okay.
And that's what sway
Are
is
we
for.
still in desperate?
He's right there, so if this doesn't work,
Okay.
This
yeah.
is desperate great, right?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. So normally it would be a standard effect for this thing to go off, but because she rigged it so well, it would have a great effect if it works.
Okay.
So if you look at,
Trying to see if there's anything else I can throw on. My stuff is fine. Does that give me any goodies? No. If I look at...
Could ask for a devil's bargain.
Yeah. Not like anything's gonna go wrong anyways. Live a little.
What about a devil's bargain of just like really taking our time to get this right, so we like some of these clocks increase?
I mean, yeah, that would be it. The clocks all go up because we've taken so long.
that seems very reasonable to me.
So that's a 1, correct?
Assuming Tom okays it.
Yeah, I'm
little
trying.
too
I'm trying to
reasonable.
decide how much I'm going to. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm only going to put 1 tick on each of these clocks.
Okay.
But I'm also going to do another roll for Zora, and whatever that result comes up, that's what that result is.
Okay.
So that seems, especially given the amount of discussion that we've had, that seems like the reasonable devil's bargain thing here. So let me roll Zora. Again, if she gets a crit, she only adds 1. If she gets a success, she adds 2. It goes down from there.
Oh, no.
A 3, a 1. That's a complete failure on Zora's part. That's 4 ticks.
Oh, fuck.
She's got plenty of time left. That's barely over
Everything's
half her
good.
clock.
1, 2, 3, 4. She's got 4 ticks left on this clock.
Right.
What was my
To
desperate
hold off at
that
the main
I've done
gate.
so far? Because I get to
Getting
add to that when I've rolled
It's
a
over
desperate.
here.
No, what have I rolled so far desperately? Because I get to add to that. So I did a scout.
Yes.
Yeah, but you
No,
get,
no, no.
you,
The
you don't
scout
get
is
you don't
what
get dots
did the-
there. You get dots in the
Oh, okay.
clock up there. You get experience dots.
Ah.
Yeah, we can worry about that after.
Okay. So does that mean you have 3 dice now?
I have 3 dice right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing this as a sway? Or
Yes,
shoot?
sway.
Okay. Six.
Yeah.
All right. Good news. So you didn't crit, but you got a success. So you slyly shoot this arrow down the hallway. You're not trying to collapse the passageway, or were you?
We are, right?
Thought we were just
That
Or are you
was
just
the-
trying to
that
make a
was-
noise and a distraction up there?
I mean, the goal was to collapse, but also mainly just distract.
Yeah, I assumed we would collapse it on a crit, but that like primarily the goal was to pull it off.
Okay. All right. So you shoot this thing down the hallway. Apparently, it was not paying attention to the Jakes, which, you know, is probably not that surprising either. You shoot this arrow down the hallway. It goes about 30 feet, goes up towards the top of the stairs, and explodes and makes this huge amount of ruckus and throws cobblestones and bricks kind of like down the hallway, like towards you. And this thing just kind of like starts, you know, lumbering into action. And it marches past the Jakes and goes, you know, the 20 feet or so down the hallway and starts marching towards the stairs to see what's happening. All right.
right.
So you were up. I did not understand that the rest of you were upstairs.
So
You're
in
not.
the
well,
Jakes
It
area.
was just you, right?
This
You
was
had
my-
to be, because
Yeah,
we
you
were,
two.
as soon as this thing went past, you were gonna shoot it. You were gonna snipe it,
Yeah.
and I was gonna shoot it with.
This was my
shot.
understanding of how this was going to go.
Uh-huh.
That like crammed into the Jakes are the 3 of you,
Oh, okay.
right? And that, like right now, and the rest of us are like on the ladder, like waiting to come up
Okay.
into the Jakes.
All right.
Like you've shot this thing, so you were right next to the door. Then like you were gonna immediately take a shot at it.
So here's the way that we'll work this out.
Yeah.
Normally, I would have had you do like a group maneuver roll to get up there and be quiet, or
Oh,
a
yeah,
scouting
sure.
roll, so that you'd all get in there and get it. Clearly, like we're beyond the point where you must have been up there and not been detected. So I would like you to do a group maneuver roll now to determine how well positioned you are to jump out and get this thing.
Oh boy.
Whew, okay.
Somebody has to lead, because if you fail, they have to take those stress.
We're in desperate still, right?
Yeah, that would still be in desperate.
So who's gonna leave?
Actually, I
Who
would
doesn't have
I would
stress?
I would argue that, well, that's fine. We can do desperate.
I mean, definitely not you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm stressing.
How many stress do you? You have
She's-
3.
I have
I have
2.
2.
So you should
You
probably
have
lead it.
none yet, right?
He's not in it.
Oh, I've got
Oh.
2,
I'll
but I'm also not in it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll lead it.
Okay. All right. So we're just looking for any success. There's a
I
6.
got one.
That's a success. That's a fail. So that's 1 stress.
I'd only do one because I have 1 ticket maneuver.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Also a
Ooh,
fail.
That's a fail.
2 stress. You take 2 stress.
Welcome to the Fort Club.
All right. So I think with that in mind, because you got a 1 and you got a 2, it's like you have the best position to get out in the hallway. You're kind of queued up to go, and you find yourself behind the heavy and also trying not to block the shot of the scout, and you're like, this is not my best place to be. All right. So you acted. But so let's move around the table then and decide what you want to
So
do.
can I see what the back of this thing looks like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ruckus, but it walks right past you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does the back of it look like?
It's got probably like on its like lower back, it's got a valve back there.
Okay. What would it look like
Mm-hmm.
if I were to run out to the hall, take a warhammer to the vent in its back,
Mm-hmm.
and that is it possible to also then scurry out of the way of the next shooter, like to open up a piece of the armor to make a better target?
I mean, I think that all depends upon how your action pulls off, right? Like
Right.
like that's what you're trying to do is hammer the nozzle off this thing and then duck out of the way so somebody can take a shot with it, right?
Yeah.
All right. I would say that this is a risky position. You've successfully sort of like maneuver yourself into better circumstances, but you're definitely not controlled. It might hear you coming, might turn around and whack you. So you're in risky position, and because you know this thing, I think you're gonna have. I would say this is standard effect, which is slightly better than what I might normally consider.
So
because you're attacking this thing from behind, like if you were attacking the front and you wanted to like knock the nozzle off its chest, it'd be like, I'm gonna block that blow. I'm gonna block that blow.
Right.
So that might be limited effect. But I think you have standard effect with this. So risky standard is where I think.
So what I'd like to do is do this, but instantly before it has a chance to turn around, somebody like you take your turn and.
This sounds like a setup action, really.
Yeah.
Right. But like your primary goal is not damage this thing. It's like make the best shot possible for these two to take.
Okay. Very good.
So here's my question about stress.
Yes.
Because I have this really wonderful special ability called War Machine. That when you push yourself, you can do one of the following: perform a feat of physical strength that verges on superhuman, or reduce the threat level of all the enemies you're facing by 1. In this situation, I would probably want to be able to use that in this roll to reduce the threat level of this thing. But that would put me, because pushing gives you 2 stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which would put me at
your
limit.
threshold. Yep.
So if I do that, that means that anything after that will cause trauma.
Yes.
Cool.
So to clarify for folks at home, when you
But
kind of
also
max
at a
out your
dive.
stress and you can't take any more, if you do take more, you essentially kind of go into this like PTSD or shell-shocked kind of condition called trauma, where you spend the rest of the scene unable to act on your own, and you are permanently sort of like psychologically scarred with some sort of manifestation of the horrors of war upon you.
But I can still function until I hit the trauma threshold.
Yes.
Okay.
But keep in mind, like if you participate in a group action or something like that, or there's something that causes you you decide that you want to help or spend any stress at all, like
Resisting is the big thing that you stop being able to do.
Right. Is it worth it?
Just for a setup action, just my armchair analysis
Probably
is no.
not. Okay. So then I would this be considered skirmish?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I'll roll skirmish because that gives me 2.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
God, I hate rolling dice.
Oh,
Yeah! I got a
Oh my
6
gosh.
and a 1.
Yeah.
All right, very good. So you get a success. So you, I don't know. You tell me how this. How this
Because I'm aiming low,
Uh-huh.
what I'm doing, I'm running out of the jakes. I do that really cool. Like you've ever been to like a haunted house or like one of those haunted mazes where they have the skitters, the people who just slide and they spark. I do that
Okay.
with my warhammer and just take aim at the vent on the waist with the spiky end of my warhammer.
Okay.
Just ping off that.
Yep.
And then scream, and then like drop.
Oh, okay.
Because you're going to shoot this now enlarged vent.
All right. So
Yes.
yeah. So
Someone?
So you hit the valve and it goes twang, and it like spins off, flying, and bounces off the wall, and then you see this jet of like roaring hot, like orange purple gas just come venting out, and you can like feel the heat. And so the weird part about it is, it's not the heat of like a forge that's really hot, right? You can tell as you sort of like skid down back on your knees and kind of like dive out of the way of this thing, and also to open up her shot, that this is the white hot heat of rage, that this thing is like literally powered by anger, and it's just this wave of hatred that sort of like goes shooting over your head as you like spin back and kind of like pull your shield in front of you to protect you from the like little blast of this that comes shooting out.
Yeah. Shit.
But he does kind of give this like under his like yes. And our sniper leans out.
Pulls out my fine long rifle, and
Full of black shot, yes?
yes, full of black shot.
What does aim do?
And this is what I will do:
Great.
is aim. But I'm gonna just throw it out there. I'm guessing I can't ambush him, right? Because he's been hit.
well,
Well,
no,
he's
'cause-
still not facing.
yeah, he doesn't know you're there. He just knows about.
I'm technically hiding.
This is all sort of part of the same ambush.
Yeah, it's all kind of part of the same moment. I will give you your ambush at this point, but it's a one-time kind of thing. So yes, you can apply that now.
I will apply it now.
You have spent sufficient resources to still essentially be hidden.
Okay, and then I will use my sniper specialist thing to aim. Which gives me aim is an action. Sniper specialist, unlike most actions, increases the effect level of the shot.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Which means sometimes you can take out large, dangerous enemies with a single bullet.
Nice.
Maybe.
Right. So normally this would be like risky standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still think it is somewhat of a risky move. However, because you're using Black Shot, that increases the potency of what you're doing, so that pushes it to great. And because you're using your sniper ability, that pushes it actually higher than great, so that would be a level 4 harm.
Isn't his setup also on the effect here?
Yeah. So that would be a level 5 harm, right? Like Savage, if you can pull this off.
Whew.
How many dice do you have?
I think I get 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
If you take this thing down in one shot, I'm gonna be so like Kolyevich is gonna be so salty that he was so worried about all of this.
Come on, Baron.
Right.
You're looking for a 6.
Run no more.
Oh,
2 sixes!
Double 6s. All right, so you got a critical. Do you want to narrate what happens, or do you want to lean on me?
I will start it and you can finish it.
All right, sounds good.
So as you take your hit and you slide out of the way, I just pop my gun out, slide into action, take aim, look straight down my barrel, pew,
And so the shot goes rocketing just square right into the vent hole that you've opened up on the back.
You're like
of this thing.
Neo bullet timing out of the way.
Yeah.
I think the way that the hammer strike happens is when you ping this thing off, you also spin it slightly towards her, right? So it really squares up the
Open it
shot,
up.
right? Yeah. And so the Black Shot just goes pouring like that, just goes firing into the opening that you have secured. And then the opposite of what you think should happen is what actually happens. So you're anticipating that Black Shot is going to make this thing like explode and shatter into 1,000 pieces, and there's going to be this massive like concussion of force that's going to rock the hallway here. And instead, the thing kind of like stops for a moment, and then it's almost like an intense vacuum has been created inside the thing, and the entire armor just like crumples up from the inside as if like giant hands of force just smash it together, and it becomes this almost like wilted like straw man of bent and twisted metal that just like kind of like comes twisting to a halt and then clanks forward and drops very quietly onto the wet cobbles in front of you. Clank.
Oh yeah.
Tank. That's it.
And that's our game, everybody. Jesus.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Kolyevich kind of like stomps up there and is like, all right, finally you can go save the commander, I guess.
Yeah, Rhea just goes, well, never mind.
All right. Good news, bad news. You go down to the end of the hallway where you have heard the sound of like bare feet on wet stone and the sound of these various gears grinding and whatnot. And you find 7 villagers who are roped to a big wooden axle, right? And it's like if you've ever seen like a cow working like a well or whatever. It's like that, but they're all yoked to this some sort of machine that is pumping this fluid up into different parts of the castle and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. The commander is not here. But you also recognize one of your old troop members, Liavel Maleksevich. And he's here, and he's also, like, he looks terrible shape. Drawn, gaunt, clearly has barely been fed, very dehydrated, but, like, you're just walking around in a circle. Which one of you does he lay eyes upon first? Baronet. He's like, Baronet Fabian. You've come to rescue me. Oh,
Yeah.
my friends, I thought I was going to die a slave or a zombie or worse, but you've come to rescue me.
Yes.
Where's the commander? Actually, I'll say, where's the commander? Rookies, get these people out of here. Are they like tied up or anything? Did you say?
Yeah,
So no diplomacy.
They're tied to these like wooden yokes that there's spokes that come out from the central wheel that they're spinning around.
We're absolutely rescuing these people, but the first words out of my mouth are also, "Where's the commander?"
Yeah, we have our orders from Zora.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I don't want a chosen mad at me.
he looks at you and he says, Zora? So it was not just
That's her at the gate.
I suffered a horrible head wound in the battle. I thought I had a strange vision, but Zora the Chosen has reappeared?
That's right. She's fighting alongside us.
And she's asked us to find the commander in here.
And you.
And you.
We'll get you out of here. But,
he says, I saw not the commander, though I know the commander was taken when we were captured. But I did not see them. I have not seen them down here. I did when I was forced to clean up some of the mess in the courtyard. I saw a strange figure in a scarlet cloak, probably some sort of high-ranking servant of the Cinder King, take some equipment up into the corner of the castle over here, this tall spire with the conical building.
Rookies, get these people out of here. The rest of us, let's form up, head over there.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
sir.
All right. There was like, wait, you don't need us to go into the...
Well, we need someone to get these people aren't gonna make it out of here themselves.
You're in command. Yes, you got it. Yes, sir. We'll get these people out of here. Come on, villagers, and they start
as soon as this wheel stops turning, the pumps stop going. There's going to be a tension.
Yeah.
Have the rookies trade out, right?
Keep the rookies turning the wheel until they can get free.
That's true.
Again, the rookies just like look at you and they're like, okay, all right. I got it.
You got a better chance
That's a
than
great
them.
point. Rookies, keep it up for 10 minutes. Give us 10 minutes and then get these people out of here.
You're the commander.
Couple
10
of-
minutes. All right, 10
Couple of
minutes.
them should
And
maybe-
share your rations with them.
You're not in charge.
Share your rations with them. I'll pull out my rations and start like handing some over to him. Well, I can't remember his name, but he definitely deserves a granola.
Liavel?
What's the fastest way to get there?
The fastest way to get there would be to go across the courtyard.
What's the fastest way that's safe?
You know that you're in kind of like this wing right here, right? So you should be able to traverse somewhere inside the building along this wall into this wing of the castle.
We'll do that.
Especially since we blew up the way that we would assume go to the courtyard.
No, you didn't collapse that
You didn't
tunnel.
collapse it? Okay.
No. Like that hallway actually leads up to another series of hallways, and one of them opens up into the courtyard, but the other goes into the other parts of the interior of the castle.
Oh, okay.
Like you're down in the bottom of the dungeon.
I thought that was
right?
going directly to the courtyard. Gotcha.
Right.
I
Okay.
do too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You didn't have a really great angle on it,
Got it.
But that's Liavel's advice from what he knows
Yeah,
of having
do
been
it.
led around and made to kind of like do stuff here.
We want to like group maneuver our way over there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I feel like it's probably a scout to be undetected, a group scout.
Sure.
Okay.
I can lead that.
I mean, I'm a scout. Do you want me to?
Doesn't matter who leads it. Everybody's going to participate.
It
He's
does
gonna,
matter.
He's
yeah.
going to suck up the stress.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the leading.
Gotcha.
Let's see. I
So
got
if you
bonus
have
die.
Scout, roll however many dice in Scout that you have. If you have 0 dots in Scout, then you have to roll 2 dice and take the lower one.
Let's see what the what's 4 and 1.
So
Yeah.
4 is a mixed success.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
go for it.
6.
Yay! I got a 6.
Oh, I critted by
Oh,
myself.
all right.
Nice.
So 1 fail out of
One
the,
failure.
out of
Great.
all the rolls. The rookies don't roll because you didn't bring the rookies with them.
That's why I didn't bring them.
Uh-huh. All right, so you get a crit, right?
Yeah.
The way that this plays out is you go.
Walk over there, open a door at random. Oh, that was easy.
All right, so 2 things. First of all, normally I think I would probably roll for how Zora is doing at this point. Because you critted, I'm just going to add 1 tick to her clock.
Totally.
So that counts essentially as a crit for her. And the reason for that is you get up into the courtyard and you can tell that there is chaos going on at the front gate. They are not doing well. Like the forces of the keep are not doing well against Zora. She has set up things where rookies are like firing alchemical weapons and stuff like that, like black shot up onto the like archers from different angles, and they keep moving around. There's a couple buildings out here that have been set on fire, and then she's just at the front gate going just toe to toe with this creature that looks like it's probably 7 or 8 different people who have all been stitched together into this mountain of a person, right?
Gross.
Like they've got there's 4 human legs, and it's got these
Flesh-rolling.
huge arms, and it's swinging this giant. What you can assume is. Like a beam from the ceiling that has had these giant spikes driven through it, and it's swinging at her, and she's like deftly, dodging out of the way and striking off chunks of the monster that reach out at her, and everyone who is stationed, not everyone, but most of the forces of the thing who are in some sort of command are just sort of like gazing in amazement at how she's just toe to toe with this thing and getting the better of it. You slip down through the hallways. Nobody's watching. You get up into this wing. Looks like it was probably like the guest quarters or maybe some sort of residence within the keep at one point. And there's a central staircase that kind of like goes in the tiered spiral up, and there are rooms off of each like on the 4 corners of each level of the staircase. But there are most of the rooms on the first 2 or 3 floors are empty and have various alchemical supplies and things like that. Stacked up in them. Some of those hoses that you saw from down below go up. One of them goes up into this thing, but you can see 2 floors above you that there are lanterns that are burning up there. So somebody must be up there, and you're gonna assume, it's, easy to assume that's where the breaking and the interrogation is taking place.
Yeah, that's where we're
So
going.
you get to kind of, because you critted, you're in controlled position right now. You can decide like how close you successfully get to that level of the residence and how you're positioned or set up.
I mean,
It is the 4 of you.
have we heard anything from inside?
You can hear. You hear a low, almost like oscillating, kind of like throbbing sound, right?
I mean,
Imagine somebody taking like an incredibly like fine-toothed saw and then running it over a very large steel pipe, just kind of sawing it over a steel pipe back and forth. That's the sound. You don't know what's making that sound, but that's the kind of sound that you hear.
Has it been the 10 minutes?
No, I would say you probably, like, because you critted on your roll, I would say it's only taken you about 5 to 7 minutes to get here. So the pump would not have tipped anybody off, if that's what your question is.
Right.
You want to use your mirror trick again?
Yeah,
to
let's do it.
Get a look in here.
Okay. All right. So.
Sir, yes, sir.
I like start asking you to do it, but you already have the mirror out, and it's like,
You're like, yes, this is what
It's already there. Sir, yes, sir.
All right, so you come up you come up to you leave the landing below this level and you kind of creep upstairs to the next landing, and you put your mirror up. You're in control position, so why don't you give me a scouting roll?
Nice.
6 and 3.
6. All right, so you're successful.
this game's easy when you only roll 6s.
You guys have rolled an incredible number of 6s, to be honest. Like
Don't
when
jinx it now.
when I play this in my home game, like
We still gotta kill off this guy over
Yeah.
here. Come on.
I'm doing my best.
all right. So you go to the edge of the stairs, then you take your handy pocket mirror and you pop it up over and you kind of do like a quick scan around the perimeter. And not straight ahead of you, but to your left. So there's 4 rooms that come off of each floor of this, right? And to your left, there's light coming from that room, and there's a lantern inside. The doorway is open, and you see a red cloaked figure with its back towards you, who is standing over a metal like a metal rack, but it's on a diagonal, right? And you can see the ragged shreds of the commander's like typical like trousers or pantaloons, whatever they normally wear, like sticking up, and so their feet are elevated up into the air. You can't tell what's going on with the torso or the head because the cloaked figure is blocking that point of view.
Okay.
But that's what you see.
I will relay that very, very quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Because you're up.
Yes, please do.
Can you go over the plan again? I wasn't listening.
Can you formulate a plan again?
There's a person in a red cloak. You're gonna take the shot.
All right, I can do that. All right.
Okay, so you're out of uses of aim
I am.
at this point, but you are ambushing from, you're shooting from cover. Actually, you're going to ambush this person. You're able to use that ability because they don't know you're there.
Right.
So I would say you're in. Here's the thing. Yeah, one of my famous lines.
Here's the thing.
I can't give you controlled position because if your shot goes wrong, it could hit the commander. Mm-hmm. So you are in risky position.
Yes, I take it.
However, I think your ambush would give you great effect if you have a success.
All right. So, with ambush, I get 1, and with my shoot, I get 2.
May I help by describing and kind of really relaying how this is all laid out so she's ready to go?
I mean, if you want to take a stress, you can help if that's what you're asking. That's fine. Yeah, giving a like a pinpoint description of like just pop
Take
over
one
and then just shoot this way. So mark a stress, and that's an additional die there.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
Here we
So
go.
let's see what happens.
Sniper gonna snipe.
Oh, that was not a good look. Oh, gosh.
Oh, no.
As soon as she's out of earshot, I'm gonna like turn to the two of you and say, "Prepare for this to go terribly." And then, like, draw my pistol. Like,
Well, there were
Always
three,
prepared
there
for
are
things
three
to go
other doors.
terribly.
Do we don't want to check those first?
Nah.
no.
Too late.
Get the commander.
Oh, that
get
one's
out.
cocked. Give me a 6. No. Okay, 5, 5, 5, 3.
All right, 5. Okay, so you're in risky position, but you have great effect. You do it, but there's a consequence.
Uh-oh.
You suffer harm, a complication occurs, you have reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position.
Wait, am I supposed to choose?
No.
I feel like
He gets to choose.
the way that this works is so you creep up, you level your shot, you don't have a lot of time to aim, so you just square it up as best you can and you fire, and it goes off cleanly. There's your bullet or your shot or whatever, you know, whatever kind of charge you're using forms a perfect like round hole in the back of the hood of this scarlet cape, right? And you just see it kind of like ruffle for a minute, and then you see this pale figure that has some sort of horrific white leather mask over its gaunt features and these long skeletal arms that end in like needle-like fingers, like literally has needles on the ends of its fingers, just sort of like crumples and collapses to the floor.
Great.
And just kind of hits with kind of like that. And that's when the door behind you opens up and you hear clomp, clomp, and another one of those things that you saw
We were ready.
steps out with its axe.
Yeah.
I run for the commander.
Do it.
All right, so you're charging up the stairs to go. All right. Yeah, whichever one of you two wants to square off against this thing first.
So I definitely want to use my War Machine ability in this to reduce the threat level of this machine.
Okay.
thing.
All right.
So that's going to take me. That's going to take the rest of my stress. In
Okay.
order to do that.
All right.
Yeah, and then
Then you're gonna skirmish with it.
I'm gonna skirmish my head.
Okay. I feel like this is a risky position, and you reduced the threat level, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes it more even with you. Standard effect right now. So
Okay.
Oh!
6.
okay,
Yeah, 3.
great. So.
So I'm definitely aiming for one of the vents again.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you're just basically trying to do a setup action for her to shoot it with black shot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then that you set her up for increased effect.
Okay.
So you're gonna shoot.
Okay. Desperate circumstances.
This isn't desperate yet. It has not closed on you. I think you're in risky right now.
Okay. So I guess.
But you're going to have +1 effect, and you're using, I assume, black shot.
I am.
So again, that turns this from. It would be a level 3 because of the black shot. Turns it into a level 4 because he has closed with it and pinged off and created another vulnerability in this thing.
But I only have 1 die.
Yep, you only have 1 die, so you have.
How many stress you got left?
2.
So you could
push yourself.
for
2
both.
options. You could push yourself for an additional die, or you could accept the devil's bargain for 1 die.
I'll take a devil's bargain. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but what is it?
Let's go with
This is so weird that we have to choose.
Well, I get to
you
decide
get
what
final say.
what the final option is. I have a pitch if you don't have one.
if you.
I
I'm
do too.
open to pitches.
All right. If you hit this thing with the black powder shot, no matter what happens, Red Vexing Wind is probably going to get blasted with some of this
Some of the corruption.
horrible, corrupted, raw anger. That's
Which is fine
spraying
because I have a +D2 to resist. So
Mhm.
it's a little bit easier.
Drag 2 dead bodies out of here.
Also, this is his chance to kill me, so.
Yeah, let's do it. You wanted it. I'm all about giving people what they want at the table. Let's make this happen.
Heroic death.
Both off the felt
All right.
4 and 5.
4 and 5. Okay. So you do it, but this is risky. You do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer harm. A complication occurs. You have reduced effect. You end up in a desperate position.
I'll take a desperate position.
You don't get to pick.
All right.
Spoken like the other GM at the table for this game.
Sorry, I'm so reflexive.
All right. So here's the complication, which is, first of all, you're gonna get.
Do I get a vexing
You
wind
get
in my-
jetted for 1 to 3 points of corruption. So I'm gonna roll and see what that comes up as. It is 3 points of corruption.
Okay.
My.
So you hit this thing and it kind of like dings off the side, right? And I think that's because of the complication, which is whether it was something that happened as you're climbing through the sewers, whether it was sneaking around, you didn't notice you bumped up against something, maybe it's just it was a faulty round or whatever, but your black
The armor,
powder, your rifle or pistol, whatever weapon you're using, is now
bow and arrow.
jammed and is going to need to be maintained before
Bow
you
and
can...
arrow, so the
Oh, it's a bow.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll just straight up say like the bowstring
the string snaps.
breaks. Yeah, snaps. Like it twangs and it makes the shot go wobbly. So here's the way that this plays out, right? Is you fire the bow and the arrow just kind of like flips out. It doesn't fire like straight with full force. But Red Vexing Wind, and this thing like just kind of turns on you and is like jetting this horrible exhaust on you. And as it raises its axe towards you, Red Vexing Wind grabs your bolt and stuffs it in the hole.
Yeah.
Now, you can either take the 3 points of corruption, which is a lot, but you won't take any more stress, or you can try to resist it. If you stress, you will trauma out. So if you don't roll a 6 on this roll,
But I get 2d6, 2 dice.
I believe you get 2 additional dice
Plus the armor.
plus your resolve, right?
So I get 4. So
Yeah.
if I don't get a 6 on these 4, 1 6 on these 4 die,
Yes.
I trauma out.
Yes.
Ha! I trauma out.
That's the next best thing to die.
All right. So you're not dead.
Wait, but your corruption reduces by 2 because of the armor.
No. I get 2 extra
Dice.
dice to
Oh,
exist.
okay, sorry. Never
Right.
mind.
If you want to mark your special seals as armor against this magic,
But you can
I'll
use it
allow it
3
to reduce it
times.
to 2, but you still take 2 points of corruption.
Okay.
Well, the resist still works. He just travels out,
that's
right?
reduces it by 1 more. So you take 1 point
Of
corruption.
1 point of corruption and a trauma.
Yes.
No, it doesn't add 2 dice. I thought it reduces it by 2.
I think his thing is different.
Yeah, mine
No,
is.
the armor from Zora.
Oh
No, that's just 1.
That's just 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
so
right.
I'm looking at the
Sacred seal.
reliquary. Never mind.
So you should pick one of the conditions under trauma that's now permanently part of your character. Usually, it's sort of like you become cold towards other people or
Gone soft.
Reckless.
reckless. Oh, okay.
Well, if this is rage,
Yeah.
if this is
Oh,
like
yeah,
powered by
totally.
rage,
Okay, all right.
like I'm infected with
Okay,
rage.
I love it. Yeah. So the way that I'm going to say that your trauma plays out is like you just inhale a bunch of this white hot raw concentrated rage, and it's not enough to just start smashing the thing like you smashed the arrow into the thing. Now you take your axe and you just keep beating it, even though it's clearly like been compressed and
Right.
sucked and defeated.
Now it's
right?
just making a lot of noise.
right.
Cool. I'm bringing the gong.
Okay. I think, in the interest of time, we're gonna do a group action try and escape.
Yeah, I like come out with the commander like fireman pose over. I look down. I'm like, we gotta get that one out of here, and we like head back towards the sewers or something, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. Okay. So, I don't think you can probably do that right away with Red Vexing Wind,
Yeah, totally.
kind of like just hulking out at this point. But I assume, given how much is going on, you probably don't make that much of a ruckus. So you let Red Vexing Wind die down. I think, let's put it this way. The time that it takes the three of you to extract the commander from this machine
Yeah.
is about the same amount of time that it takes Red Vexing Wind to
Totally.
get over, or at least manage to calm down enough to be coherent and worthwhile.
Worthwhile.
I need somebody to make a rig roll or lead a rig group action to extract the commander from the machine.
I mean, if we're doing a group,
I'll assist you.
if it's a group roll though, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to lead it, even though I only have 2 stress left, but
I mean, I don't have any dice in rig, so
I do.
I may as well just assist you because then I take the stress. You know,
Yeah,
for it.
it's a better use of the action economy for Sam to just spend a stress. So you
Okay.
you got 3 dice.
Alright. Oh no! Really?
That's a fail.
Ooh.
Oh. I mean, we can kill him too.
We can't kill him. I refuse to let him die.
Kill him!
I mean, I'm still. If that means that I'm still raging, I can just
That was orders.
go
It
over
was
and smash his head with
extricate
my.
or kill.
Oh no.
So I get to decide how the fiction plays out here. That's one of the joys of being the GM. It is certainly within my purview to straight up say that that they're dead. The commander is dead. But I don't think that's the most interesting outcome in this case. And also I'm kind of rushing to get us to the end of the adventure here, so I don't feel like it's really fair to go, oh, he screwed it up, he's dead.
You could throw
Or
that
dead.
out there. I would resist it, and we'd end up in the same spot.
Yeah. So I think the equitable way for this to play out is that it goes following. You don't know whether the commander's going to survive the trip home. They are in a coma. You're not able to rouse them. You're able to unhook them as best as you can. You don't have any real familiarity. Like if you had a medic with you, maybe you could have pulled this off. But you did the best you could with what you know about alchemy and what the commander's been hooked up to here. So it's TBD whether they survive or not. Maybe Zora can do something for them. Maybe one of your medics back at camp can do something. But it's not looking good. The other thing that I'm going to foist upon you because of the failure here is that the commander's beautiful hair shaved.
Oh no!
All their jewelry gone. No idea.
Oh, poor
This is gonna hurt his
commander.
pride.
So
Their identity
that's what
was
happens
completely
there.
Ruined.
Zora makes great headway at the front gate, but yeah, Zora has no problems. All right, there's only 2 ticks left. Let's see a group action for you to escape. Now, before you decide to roll those dice, I will say you don't necessarily have to go back out through the sewers if you don't want to. You can find a different way to escape or whatever. But let's have a group action to escape the castle. And
So I have maps that I've personally annotated as part of my gear.
Okay.
Would it be plausible that I would have a map of the keep with annotations on the fastest way out, which may not have been the same as the fastest way in?
Make a wish.
I don't know that. I don't. Are you going to expend it? Is that what you is that what you're? I'm not sure how it applies in the
Okay, that's fine.
game context. I think if you wanted to make a research flashback roll, but that's going to cost you stress, and I don't think you can afford stress
No, I
unless I'm
can't.
wrong.
I think it'd be great to go out back through the sewers anyway, just to try to meet up with the rookies.
Here, let me put it this way. You put it down on your sheet, and you said that it's specifically annotated as maps.
Yeah, it's in the
Do you
description of
have
it.
dots in research?
I have 1 dot in research.
But you have dots in maneuver or scout, right?
1 dot in each in maneuver, 2 dots
Yeah.
in scout. Yeah.
Okay. Because I would be willing to make a ruling that you could use research instead of maneuver or scout to do it, but that doesn't really apply in this situation.
Yeah.
So back the way we came.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go fast.
All right.
I can lead the action.
Okay.
What is this again?
This
Maneuver?
this is a maneuver because you're just trying to get out. You're not trying to be super stealthy. 4. There's 1 success, 1 fail.
No, you don't roll. You're traumatized out, bud.
No, he's back at this point.
Oh,
like,
he is?
It's like
Oh, okay,
it was
great.
the duration of you rescuing the thing.
Oh.
Anyway, 1 stress. All right, so you slip back down the hallway the way you came. You didn't encounter anybody. That was pretty easy. You go back down into the dungeon. The rookies are already like they're well ahead of you of like getting the villagers and the remaining kind of like prisoners down into that tunnel. And you managed to escape without being noticed or otherwise confronted with opposition. So,
Excellent.
congratulations. The mission has been successful.
Well done, everyone.
So, this is the introductory scenario for one of the introductory scenarios for Band of Blades. They're different depending upon which chosen is attached to your regiment. There's now a secondary phase of the game that we would go into where we would go back to camp. We would look at the success of the mission. That would affect things like how much supply you have available, how much intel you have, how close the undead are on your heels, what sort of pressure you're feeling, how much time has elapsed, that sort of stuff. Like, if you run out of time and you don't get to Skydagger Keep, you have failed the mission. And then we would go into a different thing where you would play the commanders, the leaders of the Legion. So somebody would be the quartermaster, and somebody would be in charge of. Somebody would play the commander. Somebody would play the lore keeper, who sort of like keeps the tally of the Legion's accomplishments and whatnot. And some decisions that you make there then inform how well you're positioned to start your next mission.
Cool.
So the next session we would do those things, and then you would advance to the Western Front and face a whole new set of missions. You'd be given 3 different missions. You could pick one for your squad to actually role play through like we did tonight, and you'd pick one that you dispatch people to, and you make a single die roll. And if it turns out well, they succeed at that mission while you guys are off doing your thing. And if they fail, generally people die. And the other implication of that is there's always one mission that you're offered, because you're offered 3 and you can only do 2. One mission has to fail. You can't do it all.
Wow.
This is not that kind of game. So that's Band of Blades, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We have some more giveaways to do here before we finish up tonight. So don't go scurrying away. There's still time. If you have not entered the raffle, that's !raffle. If you are a subscriber to the channel, you get some extra raffle ticket entries. And I'm giving away, for anyone who's located here in the U.S., we'll mail you a copy of Band of Blades. And for our overseas viewers, I have a PDF that I can email you of the game so that you can enjoy it as well, save on some shipping costs. So, do you want to do that before we do our thanks, or do you want to let people kind of get their last chance to enter everybody in here? We're going to give you a last chance while I go around and thank everybody, and also give them an opportunity to maybe mention where they can be seen next, what else they got cooking in the hopper, what else is happening with them. So we'll start over here with Mr. Ben Dunn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was an amazing game. It's really fun.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't really have much to promote. Our Kickstarter for Altered Carbon, the role-playing game, just finished.
Yeah, congrats.
Congratulations.
So we closed on that. We actually made, I think, 1,800% funded.
Wow.
So I think we netted out at 372,000.
That's
amazing.
great.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
it was really great. Thank you to everybody who donated. And if you missed it and still want to get some of the book, if you still want to buy the book, if you're interested in any of the additional gear that was offered on Kickstarter, we do have that available through the Kickstarter page still. So you still have the opportunity to purchase any of the add-ons and stuff. All of the additional, like the really cool stuff, that's gone because the Kickstarter's done. But
Gotcha.
you can still
There's
go
still
to
cool stuff.
Yeah, if you go to Kickstarter.com and look up Altered Carbon role-playing game, you can check it out there.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
That's awesome.
Jen Kretschmer, everyone.
I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me on Twitter as @DreamWisp, DreamWisp, and on Twitch as DreamWispJen. You can also find me Wednesdays from 2 to 4 on D&D Beyond in Beyond Heroes with Hope. It's really fun, and I think those are the major things.
The major things.
I'm around. I make you quality television, things like that. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Sam Dunwald, everyone.
Hello. I am primarily a video and podcast editor. A podcast I edited, narrative podcast I edited in the fall is out now on Spotify called The Last Degree of Kevin Bacon, about Kevin Bacon being stalked and then making friends with his stalker who still wants to kill him. It's very convoluted and strange, but fairly funny. I recommend it.
Did you get to meet Kevin Bacon?
Oh yeah, I shook his hand.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Nice.
My
We're
bacon
all
number,
bacon number 2, right?
My bacon number's 1.
Yours 1. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
wow,
Impressive.
nice.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. I'm currently unemployed, so if you're hiring video or podcast editors, please keep me in mind. Other than that, I just run home games and occasionally appear on things like this. So.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming and sitting in.
Of course.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
You made a perfectly dictacular officer.
It's true. You were great.
I'm going to tell you what to do.
I love it.
All right, you toad. Hope Lowell's here, everyone.
Hi. Yes, thank you so much for having me. This
Thank you for
was
coming.
So different and
So
cool.
sorry.
And it's time to go, apparently. You can watch me on Beyond Heroes, which is on twitch.tv/DNDBeyond with Jen Kretschmer every Wednesday from 2 to 4 PST. And find me on Twitter. Follow me at Real Hope Lavelle. That's REEL because I'm a filmmaker. So.
Very good, very good. I want to thank my bosses at Evil Hat for giving us the green light to donate these copies to the stream and get the word out and share these things with you. If you like the game, if you like what you saw, well, you can do a whole bunch of Googling, but you can also just go to your local game store and buy yourself a copy or order yourself a copy, or if you want one to arrive via post, there are plenty of ways to buy the game and play it. And I hope you enjoyed what we did tonight. It was just a small part of what's in the game in itself of the whole. I always love anything that has a map on the inside, and there's this beautiful map
Gorgeous.
on the inside. There's some wonderful kind of like spot gloss on the cover. It's got a matte cover. My boss, Fred Hicks, does all the layout and stuff for this, and he really puts his heart into
It's a
making a
beautiful
gorgeous,
book.
gorgeous book that is also has some wonderful black and white art and illustration.
Maybe you could
inside.
just sit on your fantasy novel. area.
Yeah.
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 We were talking about the cover before we started and how beautiful it is because it's amazing.
So I also want to thank everyone who made a donation tonight or today. Thank you so much. You unlocked a couple things. You allowed everybody to have Blackshot, which came in super handy this evening.
Yes, it did.
And also you unlocked the encounter with Liavel Melixovovich, who gave you the information about where to find the commander.
And we
whatnot.
saved him.
And you saved him, which I thought was amazing too. So that is terrific. I really appreciate all your support. That's really the main way that we fund the channel is through your generous tips and donations. So keep the love a-coming. All right, so let's give away a couple things here. Is this first one for the cover for the book, Dom, or is it for the PDF?
I don't know where they are from,
Okay.
so I can't say one way or another, unfortunately.
All right.
Unless they're in chat right now and can respond back to me, which they are not doing.
Okay. So we're giving something, either a PDF or a hard copy away to E-Lackey. E-Lackey.
Nice.
Please contact Dom. If you're watching this on the VOD, you can email Dom or at Saving Throw Show on Twitter, or go to our website, savingthrowshow.com. And any of it, it's your job to figure it out. And then whatever they don't get, we are giving to Dice Barista.
Nice.
Dice
That's
Barista.
an awesome name.
Congratulations
That's cool.
on winning a prize. And to be clear, whoever gets the book can also get the PDF as well. Like, I'm not
Dice
gonna.
Barista is a United States.
Is the United States? Well, you know what? Let's just keep things simple. Sorry, Elaki, you're gonna have to follow up in not real time and get your PDF because Dice Barista is winning this copy or one of this copy. Either way, you're winning a copy.
Yay.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Really appreciate your time, your attention, your passion, your support of the channel, everything. I hope you had a great time. And I'm gonna do an old school thing that we don't and nobody else knows about. Hey, everybody! Until next time, let's dungeon.
Wow.